The Microsoft ecosystem is evolving faster than ever. Copilot, Power Platform, security, modern work, Azure AI, new features every week, new opportunities every day. But learning is scattered. Events are expensive, limited, and difficult to access. That changes now. Welcome to M365 Con, the world's largest online Microsoft 365 convention. 2 powerful weeks, 1 week of workshops, 1 week of free global talks and keynotes. Build your own learning path with expert-led workshops. From Power Platform to security, from Copilot to Azure AI, you choose what matters to you. Then join over 60 free sessions with most valuable professionals, Microsoft trainers, architects, and innovators from around the world. Meet the community, explore the virtual expo, connect with experts, and be part of a global Microsoft experience. Accessible, global, interactive, and designed for every Microsoft 365 professional. M365 Con, your community, your learning path, your Microsoft 365 future.
Hello and a warm welcome to the M365 Con. Now to the third part of today of the stage Azure and Entra. Here with me is Jean-Sébastien DUCHêNE with Microsoft Entra, the awakening of identity with a capital 1. The stage is yours. You could start.
Thank you, Marcel. So I'm glad to be here and just to present myself. I'm technical director at Exactly Elite, which is a French Microsoft partner, and I work mainly on identity, modern workplace, cloud, and security. And today I will talk about Microsoft Entra because let's say there are lots of news around these solutions from Microsoft. And I want you to see what Microsoft brought for the several last months in the solution. So let's start. Basically, as you know, Microsoft Entra is a portfolio of solution which basically secure access for any identity from everywhere to any application, resource, AI, or agent. So the agent part is quite new, but we will talk about that after. And there are, let's say, 4 main pillars in the solutions. The first one is quite known. It's called Establish Zero Trust Access Controls. So that's everything related to conditional access for the workforce, for your people, your employee, the self-service password, those kind of elements that you put in place in the organization. The second pillar is around securing access for your employees. So it goes further than the zero trust access control that we usually see in the organization. The third one is around securing access for customers and partners. It could be as well everything related to B2C or B2B from your organization to another organization or to customers. And the last one is securing access in any cloud and AI. And behind that, we have, let's say, several aspects of identity. For zero trust access control, as you know, there is the identity and access management, IAM, which is part of this. And I have talked about a little bit of several things like conditional access. The second pillar, everything related to the securing access for your employee. We have, for example, the zero trust network access aspect, the secure web gateway, the identity governance and administration, the identity protection, and the verifiable credential that we will talk about after. For securing access for customer and partners, it's everything related to what we call the CIAM in the organization. So that's when, you want to give access to external people to some application like an ERP for dealers or resellers or a CRM or something like that. And the last one, as I've talked about, it's everything related to IAM, but related to agent and workloads in the organization. So let's focus on the aspect and the solution themselves. As you know, everything is Microsoft Entra, but the first one is Microsoft Entra ID P1, Plan 1, that you already know. And the second pillar has lots of new solutions that appeared in the last months. Microsoft Entra Private Access, Microsoft Entra Internet Access are solution related to what Microsoft called the global secure access component, which basically allow to give access to your on-premise network with some solutions that we will talk about after. And internet access, it's more what we call a cloud proxy, which allow filtering, SSL inspections, DLP over the network, those kind of elements that are a key pillar for securing access. Microsoft Entra ID governance, as its name said, it's basically allow to do governance lifecycle of the identity in the organization. And Microsoft Entra identity protection is really focused on protecting the identity with all the signals like the unfamiliar travels, the unfamiliar connection, the untypical travels, and those kind of signals that we have in the identity and the authentication. The last one, Entra Verified ID, we will talk about this just after in the slides, but it's a new way to verify who is connecting to the organization and accessing some apps, which is quite important. Securing access for customer and partners, we have behind what Microsoft called Microsoft Entra External ID, which is the brand new solution that replaces Azure Active Directory B2C. So to allow basically external people, customers to connect to your application to do some shop, or as I said, to fill things in the CRM for when it's B2B. And the last solution are really focused, as I said, to the cloud and AI, and we have a new solution we talk about, which is Microsoft Entra Agent ID, especially. So let's focus on the second pillar, because the first one, it's already known. Everyone has started their journey around zero trust. So let's focus on this one. And this one is very, let's say, focused on improving the way for the workforce to access the resources. So it starts from the onboarding, where we will see that Microsoft Entra Verified ID gives some features to basically verify the user and access to some critical resource in the organization. The second one is governing the access. So I've already talked about this, is to basically from the start where the people are signing their contract in the organization, creating the user, doing their task as part of the join. So creating the account, linking the licenses, adding the user to the groups, adding the user to the access package to access applications. That's all the steps, provisioning the device, for example, all the steps that are required for the user to join the organization, move in the organization, or leave the organization if required. And in this pillar, we have as well everything related to access or certification, and just-in-time privilege, self-service access to application, those aspects that allow basically the employee to work in the organization. Then we go to the secure access, and that's a key pillar, and let's say brand new solutions that appeared a few months ago. The first one at the top, as I said, it's a cloud proxy. It's called Microsoft Entra Internet Access, and it allows basically to protect the user when they browse online, especially Microsoft 365 solution, but as well any internet or SaaS application, by creating some rules to, for example, filter some kind of categories that you don't want for your users to browse. And we have on the bottom of this slide the private access, so a solution which allow basically the user anywhere, where it could be outside, inside, to access some private application on premise, for example, application in a secure way with a secure tunnel and secure network flow and everything. So we will dig into each pillar of this, and especially each scenario. Let's talk about the first one. And for example, when we talk about onboarding the user, as I said, the first thing is to basically create the account in Microsoft Entra ID or the Active Directory. And the first thing we can do, and it was there for a long time, but in fact, it was, let's say, Microsoft was just providing the API for Workday and SuccessFactors, which are our HR system. Now the API has been a little bit reworked and can be used by any organization to basically load some data in order to create the accounts, modify any attributes of the account if required, or even delete the account. So it allows basically the organization to do the provisioning of the user accounts in the directory. It could be, as I said, Microsoft Entra ID or Active Directory, and do basically the onboarding of the organization. Then we have the other steps, as I said, to govern the access, but we will talk about this after in another slide. So as I said, this API is, let's say, brand new because it has been reworked. It was there for SuccessFactors and Workday. You will be able to basically using JSON to load those user accounts and modification in this API, and it will automatically create the accounts in Microsoft Entra ID or Active Directory using this provisioning agent we are seeing on the slide. We can even create the account in any other on-premise application in their directory in order to ensure that the user have the correct account everywhere in the organization. So that's clearly a key pillar for identity and governance in the organization, and to give access to the user to the application required in their work. The other aspect I talked a little bit earlier is Microsoft Entra Verified ID. And that's clearly something that will grow in time because this solution is a managed verified credential service, which basically will allow to verify that the people that are accessing an application or accessing the information system is clearly the one that we are looking for. So it's directly linked to Authenticator, where we can basically provision and deployed a verified ID that the user can use. And then we are starting to see in the Microsoft solution this feature to be basically used. For example, a user can, if the administrator has basically configured that, it can ask to the user to verify the ID with a face check in order to request the access to an application using an access package in the solution. So that's one scenario that can be used. The other scenario that appeared a few weeks ago, it's the account recovery. So when the user has completely lost the access to their accounts, especially when they have lost the authentication method like MFA or any other authentication method, before he had to basically call the support and the help desk of the organization to request basically a reset of the authentication method. Microsoft has introduced this account recovery feature, and basically it used Microsoft Entra verified ID behind to do a complete verification of the user to be sure that we are in front of the user that we are waiting for this account. Let's talk about then, as I said, I already talked about this earlier, but as I said, it allows basically to use verified ID as part of the entitlement management. So as I said, requesting an access to an application across an access package in Microsoft Entra, which basically gives him the access to the application if it has the ability to present this verified credential that has been provided by the organization. Another pillar in the governed access, it's the lifecycle workflow, and I have already talked a little bit about this. Lifecycle workflow allow the administrator to create some orchestration task based on some attributes. So let's say, for example, when an account is created, you have an hire date, which is sometimes in time. You can say, okay, 7 days before I start those action, I start by sending a password to the manager of the user. I ask for a phone provisioning to the support using the ITSM tool, etc., etc. So that's several steps that you can configure. There are steps built-in tasks basically that Microsoft provide, like as I said, generating the temporary password, sending email, updating some attributes, adding the user to some groups, etc., etc. But we can extend those built-in tasks using basically Azure Logic Apps, which is another tool in the Microsoft ecosystem in Azure. which is basically the low-code, no-code solutions that Microsoft propose. And in this case, when you use that, as there are several connectors and several things available, you can easily connect to an ITSM tool, to connect to another, your device management tool if you have something to do, etc., etc. So it allows to manage the join process of the organization or the leave process of the organization, or if the user move from one job to another. And everything is based on some attributes of the accounts. So, for example, the job profile, which can change from one job title to another, or one department to another. So that was the govern access. And in this govern access, we have as well the way basically to give access to any application in the organization using access package. It's done and the user can leverage, let's say, a portal, a web interface, to have the complete list of access package it has access to in order to do the request. So we have a kind of self-service availability, which is provided to the user. And we can as well add some workflows. So in case of self-service, someone can approve the request. And then in this case, the user get access to the application. And this access can be periodically reviewed by someone, by, for example, the application owner, to see if the user still needs the access to the application. We will see that this feature can be linked to Microsoft Entra private access, which is basically giving access directly to the application, even if it's on-premise and if the user is outside the organization. We have the same workflow, and this one is really focused for sensitive resources. I give always this example. For example, for administrator, when they have access to a specific environment as an administrator, they can leverage the access package to give access to the administrator based on an approval workflow to get the privilege activation and the access to the resource. So we have the same, let's say, mechanism as we've seen before for administrator or for any sensitive resources that must be accessed by a user. So as I said, we have this, let's say, features that allow to onboard the user, let them request the access if required, provision the access. The provisioning of the access using those access package can be, as I said earlier, be done by self-service, or it can be done as well with automatic policy. So we can create some policies that say, okay, to access the HR system, as soon as you have the HR department in your user account, you automatically get the access, the access to this access package and the application behind. What is quite interesting is that those access package and the entitlement management in Microsoft Entra ID can be used as well for on-premise application, even if there is no connection to the on-premise application. And we can do that with what we call the custom workflows, where we can do an integration with Logic Apps. And for example, I have a customer which have a very old but sensitive application where, let's say, they had 1 or 2 requests to this application per year. So developing the connector to automatically, let's say, give the access from Microsoft Entra ID in the application without any human action was quite expensive. So we decided to just launch a Logic App workflow, sorry. And in this Logic App workflow, it creates an ITSM ticket in the organization, assigning the owner of the application, and asks to this owner to basically do the action to give the user rights to this user that has been approved. We have all those kind of scenarios which are available and allow to do the identity and governance in Microsoft Entra. We have as well in the govern access, the access recertification. So we can create access reviews, which are based on policies for automation. And what is quite interesting is that Microsoft introduced AI in this system, and as you see on the screen, we see that the AI is able to do some recommendation based on the usage of the application. So, for example, in this screenshot, you see that Aaron has a recommendation as denied because it's basically an inactive user. So Microsoft Entra detected that this user has not connected to the app for the last 30 or 90 days. So that's very powerful. And those access reviews have, let's say, great possibilities because we can do multi-stage reviews. So for example, a first stage with the manager, a second stage with the application owner, etc., in order to fulfill all your requirements in terms of access recertification in your organization. The third pillar is around securing the access, and I've already introduced a little bit, but I will just detail what we have behind. So the first one is modernizing the remote access to on-premise resources. And especially the first ability we have is to add MFA to those on-premise resources that are usually unsecure. What is interesting with Microsoft Entra Private Access is that when you define an on-premise application in Microsoft Entra ID, then you can install a connector on your network. And this connector will basically create a tunnel like VPN. But the difference with VPN is that it will create a tunnel for each application and only opening the required apps or required protocol, sorry, or the required IP address range. That's everything. I mean, you can configure everything in Microsoft Entra ID to be sure that you are very granular on what you open on the device when the user try to access. In addition to this model, as I said, we can link that to the conditional access that we already know from Microsoft Entra ID and ask for MFA or for any other conditional access requirement like the compliance from Intune or the fact that the device is maybe Entra hybrid join if you are still in a hybrid scenario. So it's very powerful. It's the future basically that will replace the VPN in the organization. And that's something you have to think about because it's really part of the zero trust framework and the fact that we are doing zero trust network access only to the application that we require and the user require. The second solution for securing access, it's Microsoft Entra Internet Access. And in the same way, we will, from all the kind of clients, and it was the same for private access, be able to inspect and do filtering, manage the network flow over the internet access. So for SaaS application and especially Microsoft 365 or any website. And it's very powerful because it's basically a cloud proxy enhanced, let's say, because you will have several, let's say, user profile. So if we take the marketing user, we can define some rules which allow the enterprise apps in the organization. So let's say Microsoft 365, your line of business applications that are stored in the cloud, or some, for example, marketing social media websites that are linked to the marketing. But you can, for example, block any other website or any other categories based on the business rules and the user profile you want. If we take another example, if we take the SecOps, in this case, maybe the SecOps, we want them to access to Azure, to AWS, to GitHub, etc., etc. But you don't want them to access any social media. So in the same way, you will have several rules that are based on the user profile and that will let those users to basically access those websites. Microsoft Internet Access is very powerful because we can as well do SSL inspections. We can do network DLP. We can do threat intelligence profile to basically detect bad websites or bad thing. And we will see in other scenarios that now we can leverage those Microsoft Entra Internet Access for AI scenario, and that's what Microsoft announced in November at the Ignite. So that's, you already know this, maybe this kind of slides. Basically, in the middle, that's the conditional access engine. So on the left side, you see the signals that we get, the risk, the compliance of the device, the apps, the location. On the right side, you see basically the apps you want to give access to, and the kind of control, the grand control that you allow. So, for example, allow, require something, block, or restrict. And the new thing with Microsoft Entra Internet Access or private access, that's the notion of compliant network. So the compliant network means that the device has installed and enrolled in Microsoft Entra Internet Access or Microsoft Entra Private Access using the global secure access clients that Microsoft created. So that's the fact that in order to access resources, there is a tunnel up to the Microsoft Entra services, then to go to the SaaS application, your on-premise network. And this tunnel allow basically to do some filtering, some inspection, and verify the security of the network. So it allows, for example, to be secure against token replay, against AITM attack. So when someone is stealing the MFA not the MFA, but is stealing the MFA as well by displaying a fake page to the user, those solutions are really protecting those scenarios. We can even block any identity attacks in real time, ask for the GPS location, and use the continuous access evaluation, meaning that if at any moment the condition of accessing the apps has changed because maybe the user has moved from one network to another, from, for example, the network office, the home, and to the home office, it will basically change and reevaluate in real time the condition of accessing the resource. So the brand new features that had been announced to the Ignite, and especially around the AI. So for this secure web access and using internet access, we have now a way to detect and protect everything related to prompt injection. So that's something in terms of security that has buzzed a little bit a few months ago. We are able as well to detect any shadow AI, shadow IT, and have a visibility of any corporate apps that are maybe not known from the IT. In big organizations, big groups, it's always something we have today. And we can do as well any network file filtering, and we can use the network DLP, meaning that if we take, for example, some organization, they see a lot of usage for ChatGPT, the public ChatGPT. They don't want sometimes to block the access because the user have started to have habits with it, but they want to protect and be sure that any sensitive data are sent to those AI. So we can do that basically. We can just give access to ChatGPT, the public ChatGPT, but we can block any sensitive apps, any sensitive documents, sorry, to be loaded, uploaded, or sent to ChatGPT public using those new features in Microsoft Entra Internet Access. So that's why it was basically the pillar for securing access for your employee. The next pillar we will see is around securing access in any cloud and AI, and we will focus especially on Microsoft Entra Agent ID. So Microsoft Entra Agent ID, Microsoft decided to create that because we see a really huge number of agents showing up everywhere. If we think about 2 years ago, there was no agents in the organization, and we will have 1.3 billion of AI agent by 2028. So that's a huge number in very short time. And we have to basically govern and manage those agents in the same way we do for employee or any identity in the organization. Especially because the agents will be central in the organization. We will have some user that will be will prompt maybe those agents. We will have those agents talking to another agent using the agent-to-agent protocol. They will use LLM basically and some data source. So you can have attacks almost everywhere. You can have attacks between the two agents, between the agent and the LLM, between the agent and the data source, or even between the user and the agent. So it's very critical to manage the identity and protect basically those new identity in the organization. And especially because when the people that have started to create agents using Copilot Studio have maybe seen that in their Microsoft Entra ID tenants. But when you create an agent, whatever it's Microsoft or another agent, you have lots of identity behind the agent. You have the agent identity itself. So basically the identity which is used to run the agent. You have the user identity which access the agent, but you have the identity and the permission which access the apps from the agent. And you have as well some other agent accessing this agent identity. So as you see, and for the people that have created some agents using Copilot Studio, usually in the tenant, you see appearing several app registration for only one agent. So we will see a huge increase of identity in the Microsoft Entra ID tenant, and we need a way basically to link the agent to the several identity and have some governance feature in the same way of employee, as I already talked in the beginning of this presentation. So Microsoft Entra Agent ID answer that, and as you see, those agents can as well access other agents that can access the network, the clouds, the apps, and even some data. So, and let's move on the next. As I said, we have to manage the identity lifecycle. We have to govern and be sure that those agents are governed in terms of permission, of terms of creation. We have to protect the agent access. We have to protect the agent access to the apps, the system, and other agents. And yeah, we have to basically protect all these aspects of the slides that I was showing earlier. So in Microsoft Entra Agent ID, we are able to do 3 pillars. First, register and manage the agents. So we have a registry with all the agent identity, which will be a reference and in one place. That's a critical element because, as I said, for the people that have created the agent with Copilot Studio, we have identity everywhere. Then we should have the same mechanism as I've shown before for employee to govern the agent identity and the lifecycle. So lifecycle management, we have to basically assign a sponsor and a manager to the agent. We have to do some access governance, so to review the access of the agent to the sources they have access to or to the apps they have access to. And we have to protect the agent with conditional access, identity protection, or any traffic filtering of the organization. So the first thing is that Microsoft introduced what they call the agent blueprints that we can push to the agent identity. And those agent blueprints are reusable templates that we can use for creating, configuring, and governing the agent identity in the same way and in a secure way. So that's very critical. That's already available in Microsoft Entra Agent ID in the portal. You can have a look. And it will bring, let's say, a framework for your agent identity. In the agent registry, we will be able as well to discover the agent-to-agent connection. And we will have, let's say, something which will list of whitelist or blacklist, let's say. So they call that allowed and quarantined agents to basically manage the agent in your organization and the agent identity. So that's something you have as well in the portal, and you can create as well your own collections. So there are pre-built-in collections that Microsoft created to gather your agents, but you can create your own collections based on the business units or any other requirements that you could have to categorize the agent. So that's what you can see in the organization. So that's not the same layout, but you have the agents that can be basically assigned to those categories based on Microsoft, or you can create, as I said, your custom categories like sales, productivity, and basically block or put in quarantine the agents that you don't want as part of the discovery and the visibility that I've talked about. So governing the agents, as I said, we will be able to assign a sponsor to keep always a human in the loop, and we will be able as well to use the agent lifecycle. So in the same way as the employee, we will be able to use the lifecycle workflow I've shown earlier to categorize the creation of agent. As the user might create themselves agent using Copilot Studio quite easily because it could be low code, no code. We should have those governance to be sure that when an agent is created, you have the correct steps to onboard the agent in the organization. Microsoft is as well reworking the conditional access. So that's what you know from the conditional access. They introduce the agents. So you can create conditional access for AI agents, and you can create conditional access to give access to AI agents. So that's clearly another steps, and you have to rework maybe your conditional access policies to introduce those AI agent elements if you don't manage them today. So it means that you could have a conditional access policy for agents, which will look for custom security attributes, filed access attempts, sign-in spikes, unfamiliar resource connection. And depending on the condition, will allow or not access to another AI agent when some agents are talking together, or on any other resources in your organization that the agent can access to give some services to basically your user. So that's what you might see in the conditional access policies, and it's already available. In the assignment, you can basically select the assignment and then choose specifically agents and target all agent identities or some specific agents or based on some categories. And then we can use several conditions like the agent risk, and few conditions will come in the future to enhance the conditional access policies for your agent. So that was basically Microsoft Entra Agent ID, and as you've seen, it has 3 pillars. The first pillar is registering and manage the AI agents. For those of you that has basically access to the Microsoft Entra ID of your organization, and if your organization has open Copilot Studio licenses, as I said, you will see a lot of new app registration and apps and identities showing up. So very important to have a clear view in the directory to these agent identities and the agents themselves. Govern the agent identities and lifecycle. So as soon as you give access to Copilot Studio, some user will create several agents, and you have to manage those agents creation with some several steps like an employee, and protect the agent using conditional access or even accessing the resources. And Microsoft is at the very beginning of this journey of Microsoft Entra Agent ID. So I'm pretty sure that 2026 will see lots of new feature inside Microsoft Entra Agent ID, and everything we know about the products will basically be translated for agent. This session is very focused on Microsoft Entra, but you have maybe seen that Microsoft has announced Microsoft Agent 365, and in Microsoft Agent 365, you have Microsoft Entra Agent ID. You have as well Microsoft Purview, Microsoft Defender, and those other solutions have been improved and extended to manage the agents. So Microsoft will iterate certainly on those solutions to add more and more scenarios for managing the AI agents. So that was basically the solutions of Microsoft Entra. And as you see, you cover identity across all kind of identities. So from the employee to the external user, to the guests, to the workload. We have not talked about about the workloads and the cloud workloads, but it's something you can manage as well, and up to the AI and the agent. So I'm done for this session. I don't know if you have any question, but I can answer the question around Microsoft Entra and those new aspects of Microsoft Entra Agent ID.
Yes. Jean-Sébastien, this was really, really impressive and comprehensive overview. And we saw in the last sessions, on the last days, I think yesterday with Emilie Lundblad, how it works in a whole configuration set with the agent. So we saw there's a lot of integration now between this, and a lot of people must work together. So Entra in the past was I would say more the identity handler for humans and groups.
Yeah.
And now it would be the identity handler for agents too. And this means a lot of not only a new technology, a lot of communication between the different organizations in the IT, for example, or for responsibles or airbag roles in the IT regarding to that. Not so easy to handle, I think. What do you think?
Yeah, you're right, and to give you some insight on that, Microsoft is seeing agents like humans, so it's a little bit creepy. But when you talk to Microsoft representative via the VP and so on, they tell you that basically you will have soon more agents than any employee or any worker in the organization. So for sure, that's something we have to tackle. And I already know some organization that when the agents came up earlier last year, they asked me how I can manage and govern those agents. So how I can manage the right, the permission. I have really I'm feared about the agent-to-agent protocol. They had the kind of feeling of losing the control, but in fact, with Microsoft Entra, Microsoft gives some real answers to that. So that's very good.
So I have a special question. I hope you could help me. So I'm working in a lot of use cases with security officers, I would say, CISOs, and with workers' councils. I think this is a little bit special in Europe. I think someone in in the United States never heard of it, but but for us it's very important. And if I heard, if I take a picture from that, from a verified ID, and I saw a photo from a face, biometric data. So if I should discuss with someone in Germany from a public sector, he would say to me, "You can go this way." What do you think regarding to two topics here? Regarding to first, the easiest question regarding to deepfakes, like someone has a Facebook photo from someone and said, "Here, yeah, that's I," and regarding to GDPR related topics to this new feature what you have presented.
Yeah. So for your first part of the question, and you're right, in verified ID, there are two kind of options. There is the basic face check, and you're right, you can basically work around the thing. I'm pretty sure that one day it will be easy. But for the very sensitive features that require something else, verified ID is always able to verify the ID itself. maybe you are an expert, but for the people that do some Microsoft certification, you have to take a picture of your passport, of your ID, and they do some verification. So there are some services, external services, it's not Microsoft, that you can link to Microsoft Entra Verified ID to do the check of your official identity, passport, and national card. Link to the face check as well. So that's the first step. And for GDPR, for sure, there will be some discussion in Europe, in France, Germany, which are very sensitive to that. The answer from Microsoft is that you can basically leverage something outside, so not Microsoft. And my feeling is that in Europe, we should build some services, trustable services that could do that. Not leverage US or any other, you're right, but trust services. And I think there are organizations that can do that.
Yeah, so trusted services is this discussion could be long. So when the customer will say, this is a place, this is in a Microsoft tenant, we didn't trust this. Only if we have, for example, an Azure Key Vault. I think so. This could be special. But I think this is interesting. But I know for the future it will give us a lot of discussion in Europe, I think, because the countries in Europe are not nearly all the same. But so regarding to GDPR, most countries are related to this here in Germany, in Europe. Sorry, in Europe. And that's why I think, this will be the most discussable feature that you showed today. So the other stuff is only more discussable inside the company, and verified ID. This could be discussed, with the Workers' Council and CISO or someone else, security officer.
We will have lots of discussion, I guess, on that.
Thank you. I think this was an amazing overview. This was the missing point to yesterday. So because we saw a lot of yesterday was a whole day Copilot Studio, and from session to session we come. I would say Entra a little bit nearer, and today this was, I think, the missing point to get a full overview regarding to Entra. So for your information, we cut every session into a single session and put it on our M365 show YouTube, and we send you a link afterwards, and you can really get then. And this is this helps a lot, I think, the community to understand what is the strategy regarding the agents. Perfect. So I thank you. This was amazing, and I hope you see you soon. And I wish you a nice day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
The Microsoft ecosystem is evolving faster than ever. Copilot, Power Platform, security, modern work, Azure AI, new features every week, new opportunities every day. But learning is scattered. Events are expensive, limited, and difficult to access. That changes now. Welcome to M365 Con, the world's largest online Microsoft 365 convention. 2 powerful weeks, 1 week of workshops, 1 week of free global talks and keynotes. Build your own learning path with expert-led workshops. From Power Platform to security, from Copilot to Azure AI, you choose what matters to you. Then join over 60 free sessions with most valuable professionals, Microsoft trainers, architects, and innovators from around the world. Meet the community, explore the virtual expo, connect with experts, and be part of a global Microsoft experience. Accessible, global, interactive, and designed for every Microsoft 365 professional. M365 Con, your community, your learning path, your Microsoft 365 future. Welcome to Power Bros Knowledge, where Power Platform meets pure innovation. Your business runs on chaos, approvals lost, data scattered, time wasted. We know that pain. Now imagine automating everything, faster, smarter, and built for impact. That's where Power Bros come in, architects of digital change. We don't talk trends, we build results. Our Knowledge Hub turns expertise into action, real tutorials, real automation, real impact. Whether it's Power Apps, Automate, Logic Apps, or Entra, we make it work together, smarter. Join the Power Bros movement, 30,000 professionals learning, building, and sharing every day. Ready to transform your workflows? Book us now, and let's build something legendary together.
Hi, I'm Sean, and I train people to become Power Platform Solutions Architects. If you're watching this, you know Power Platform, but be honest, when you're building the solution, are you using the best tools to solve the problem, or just the tools you know? If you love building powerful, scalable solutions that make your company money, let me share why our training is different. We've noticed that the best architects know a series of best practices and they apply them to every project. So we took all these best practices and put them into this course.
Are you tired of missing out on the latest Microsoft innovations that could entirely revolutionize your business operations and workflow completely now and forever? Imagine having daily insights from industry experts at your fingertips every single day, receiving actionable advice that transforms your professional landscape significantly with each new revelation daily. Our M365.fm podcast brings you engaging, insightful conversations with dynamic leaders shaping the future through innovative technologies and groundbreaking ideas that transform industries. Stay ahead of the curve with expert analysis on the cutting-edge strategies you need to implement immediately, making informed decisions and driving innovation forward successfully, always. From IT pros to C-level executives, our podcast has got you covered with actionable advice daily. Tune in now to discover forward-thinking revolutionary ideas that are transforming businesses like yours right now with innovative strategies and fresh perspectives. You get the exclusive inside scoop on Microsoft's latest technological developments and strategic moves, straight from the company's top experts and industry thought leaders daily. Our engaging discussions make complex tech topics simple, accessible, and highly actionable. You'll be the first to know about groundbreaking, game-changing technological advancements that significantly impact your role and transform your professional landscape completely every time. Each episode is packed with practical insights to boost your professional growth instantly. Don't just keep up. Stay ahead consistently with the knowledge and insights that set you apart creatively from the competition and others in your field, always effectively. Our M365.fm podcast is your essential key to unlocking the full potential of Microsoft's comprehensive suite of productivity tools and services effectively every day. Join a vibrant community of forward thinkers who are actively shaping the future of innovative tech and sustainable business models now and beyond regularly. You'll gain confidence in your decisions daily, backed by expert opinions and valuable insights, fostering personal growth and trust in your judgment naturally over time, with each careful consideration. Expect seamless integration of the latest tech trends into your workflow and overall business strategy, enhancing productivity and driving innovation through cutting-edge solutions and expert guidance daily. Every episode is a step towards becoming a more effective, informed, and confident leader in your chosen professional field by enhancing your skills and expertise gradually, over time naturally. Make the most of Microsoft's innovations today. Subscribe to M365.fm now and lead the way to a more productive future with innovative tools and collaborative solutions instantly. Listen now and transform your approach to tech and business with M365.fm. Your ultimate growth starts here today with expert insights and innovative solutions immediately.
Hi, I'm Sean, and I train people to become Power Platform Solutions Architects. If you're watching this, you know Power Platform, but be honest, when you're building a solution, are you using the best tools to solve the problem or just the tools you know? If you love building powerful, scalable solutions that make your company money, let me share why our training is different. We've noticed that the best architects know a series of best practices and they apply them to every project. So we took all these best practices and put them into this course.
Welcome to Power Bros Knowledge, where Power Platform meets pure innovation. Your business runs on chaos, approvals lost, data scattered, time wasted. We know that pain. Now imagine automating everything, faster, smarter, and built for impact. That's where Power Bros come in, architects of digital change. We don't talk trends, we build results. Our Knowledge Hub turns expertise into action, real tutorials, real automation, real impact. Whether it's Power Apps, Automate, Logic Apps, or Entra, we make it work together, smarter. Join the Power Bros movement, 30,000 professionals learning, building, and sharing every day. Ready to transform your workflows? Book us now, and let's build something legendary together. The Microsoft ecosystem is evolving faster than ever. Copilot, Power Platform, security, modern work, Azure AI, new features every week, new opportunities every day. But learning is scattered. Events are expensive, limited, and difficult to access. That changes now. Welcome to M365 Con, the world's largest online Microsoft 365 convention. 2 powerful weeks, 1 week of workshops, 1 week of free global talks and keynotes. Build your own learning path with expert-led workshops. From Power Platform to security, from Copilot to Azure AI, you choose what matters to you. Then join over 60 free sessions with most valuable professionals, Microsoft trainers, architects, and innovators from around the world. Meet the community, explore the virtual expo, connect with experts, and be part of a global Microsoft experience. Accessible, global, interactive, and designed for every Microsoft 365 professional. M365 Con, your community, your learning path, your Microsoft 365 future.
Welcome back to our M365 Con. Here on the Azure and Entra stage with me is Artem Chernevskiy. A warm welcome to you. And the topic of today is why AI agent adoption needs a framework. You could start now. Have fun.
Thank you, Marcel. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. It's an amazing journey, 2 weeks of so useful content, and now it's Friday evening, and I'm so happy that you are with me. I will try to do this session as interactive and as fun as possible. And one of points that we have done right now, you can see that we wouldn't see any PowerPoint slides. We will have slides, but the slides are built with one of the agents available from Microsoft, GitHub Copilot Spark. And you can see that it's the first time for me when I'm trying not to do the slides, but I'm trying to do my own web app like a presentation. Yeah, just putting there all content. And that's really great example. And I want to start my session from the example of really using agents and what agents can give to us. These agents works like a software developer. Yeah, so if you're not familiar with GitHub Spark, it's pretty easy. Give me a second, I will keep going to demo. Yep, so just there I can just type in what I want to have on my presentation, on my application, and it's preparing me the app. It's full interactive. It has some artificial intelligence option if you need, and you even can publish it. And I will share this link with you, or you can retype it if needed. So it's fully accessible to everyone who has free GitHub license, and you can work with it. So it will be very new option for me. So agents opening my options. Yeah, so right now I can share, not just share the slides of my presentation, I can share the app, and everyone can go into this app through the web variant and even ask some questions if you want to know why I should listen to this information. Yep. And you can speak, and it's trained, so it will help you. So we will have some interaction. So if something will be not so familiar for you, later you can check it. So that's the benefit for you. What's the benefit for me? Not to going with PowerPoint, but to spend some time and to build the web app. I can show you some closed, accessible only to admin option. So I can see analytics, and I'm totally curious about it. How many people will look at the presentation through this link? How much of them will go to my LinkedIn, connect in LinkedIn? How many AI chat sessions will be started? And of course, what the slides will be the most popular, and so on. So later it provides me a very useful feedback. And you know that feedback is only one source to improve our skills. Yep. Also, by the way, I have some tests because it's up and I want to test it. I have an audit log right there. I can see what's happening with my app. And even I have some option to collect the agent memory. So that's requirements. And if I want, I can just copy these requirements and to build other application. So once again, what you are doing, why is it, what's happening? I'm just showing you that the idea of agents, and in this example, software development agents, totally change what we are doing. Yes, we are in the start of revolution. Right now, I can say that's the first time in my life, really. For 25 years, I was using PowerPoint, and now I say, no, I don't want PowerPoint. I want to be able to share my presentation just with link. I want to provide artificial intelligence to give an assistant support to people who will read it. I want the statistics. I want to understand how you will contribute to this content. I don't want to be limited. I want to turn on my creativity, and that's what's happening. That's one example. more or less, it will be other examples, but agents are changing everything, and we can do other things which were not available before. Going to agents, what will be this presentation about? We will speak about a very useful document, Cloud Adoption Framework. So if you're not familiar with this, Microsoft Azure documentation specially made for planning and governance implementation. During these two weeks, you have heard a lot of security features, a lot of technical points regarding Copilot Studio, regarding Agents 365, regarding Azure. And maybe you are just a bit frustrated trying to understand why and how, where I should start. What should be the right sentence of my ideas, how I have to document it, how I can be sure that I'm using these tools in proper and recommended manner. And Cloud Adoption Framework, that's really great collection of resources regarding Azure with best architectures, with some guidance and so on. Of course, it's option for you to be flexible, to use it and to modify it if needed, but it's really good materials provided by a group of experts from Microsoft and external review, and we can rely on it. Right now, regarding artificial intelligence, we have two, I would say, main points. One of them is AI adoption. You can see it right now. It was with us, I think, for a few months, and recently new variant of Cloud Adoption Framework, not just AI, but AI agents adoptions. On first look, it looks similar, and you can be even missed something AI agents or AI this, and so on. And you have seen a lot of frameworks from Agile, I don't know, from Scrum, from any vendor, and right now you're trying to say, wow, one more framework. What you can find this? Why it's interesting? Why should I listen? And I want to show you one interesting and meaningful difference between two of these frameworks, this Cloud Adoption Framework just for AI and AI agent adoption, even on these four main stages. So let's start with AI. You can see that what's the main idea. Start with strategy, obvious, yes. Then plan, then ready. Ready is build an AI environment, choose an architecture, establish network. Yes, so doing something. Then you're going to security and compliance, and then, of course, to manage when you need observability and you want to do. Let's check new AI agent framework. What we can see there. Yes, we are starting with plan and strategy, and we will speak today about it. But then we are going to security before we are building the agent, and that's really, really interesting. So this is the security first development. As agents with the autonomy, with a lot of tools, different tools which are available for them, with a lot of data, they are really risky but powerful tool for us. That's why we are starting with security, and only after setting the security guidelines, governance, preparing data, and other things, we are going to build. High level, there are differences between implementing just overall AI or AI agent networks. But okay, let's go close to the slides, not presentation, but slides. What we will learn today, we will speak about plan, govern, build, manage. We will going through the problem definition, going to some business case. I will try to do sometimes some demos just for you not to be so boring, not just looking to the text information. I hope that after this you will understand main platform decision trees, when and why you have to make some key architectural decisions, going with agents or not, use SaaS or PaaS platform and other things. You will understand the roles and the responsibilities of the team which you need to implement successful AI agent solution in corporate environment. I hope that you will be able to implement observability and cost controls from day one. In any variant, the main idea what you will have after this presentation CAF will be somehow familiar for you. Yes, because when we are starting to work with big documentations, we are just frustrated, and it's very difficult first step. For me, the main idea is to provide you this first step. Just understand what is it, why is it, what's going on, and then use it like your day-of-day tools to plan your architecture and your project of implementation. Okay, why exactly we need this framework? What will do? What will be the issues? What is the risk if we are just start button, just push it, and just to start develop something with GitHub Copilot? It's very fast and very funny. Usual questions, usual problems, of course, it's dozens of agent experiments with no inventory ownership or lifecycle management give us a lot of different artifacts which are difficult to manage and to understand responsibility and to understand can we turn it off or not. So be manageable from the day one, and it helps you in future. Of course, when each team implements security and data access differently, it's really difficult to manage the situation because agents can be built by users. We using Copilot Studio. Different teams can go to Azure AI Foundry, for example, with Flow, Azure Workflow, when it's also possible to build agents without code and everything else. Of course, audit gaps. So we need one complete audit solution. Everything regarding token consumption is really important because agents can be very, very costly solution if we would not plan it appropriately. Of course, data leakage, security, quality. Yes, just to understand that it works now, it will work tomorrow, and we know what we can do if the accuracy, for example, will go down and so on. So that's key things. So usually the problem is when we didn't define agent lifecycle, as we have with usual software, development, test, production, retire. Yes, it's interesting. We have to manage ownership between platform teams and workload teams. We have to make a restriction with tool access. You have listened on the previous presentation about conditional access. That's really important, and this is exactly the technology which lays below this option. We need very good data readiness because, of course, if you have garbage input, you have garbage output. And interesting point regarding FinOps discipline, because in current global environment, global business, everything is about money and everything about ROI, and we have to measure ROI from day one just to show the proof of value of our agents and our pilots. Yeah, so this risk type, they are also provided in Cloud Adoption Framework, and we can measure the scale and how important this risk regarding to the scale of implementation. What is AI agent? A really great question. I think that you have heard a lot of this question and a lot of beautiful pictures. For me, in simple words, chatbot responds to queries. Agents pursues goals. So agent completes something to receive the goal what we need. Being more technical, we have components of agent. This is model, baseline model, instructions, knowledge. It's also available to it. Some tools, some actions, and of course memory, which is a really important thing to be developed in this year, especially in Azure, Copilot Studio, and so on. So difference with chatbot, agents are much more autonomy. I have heard some, by the way, some days on meetups that agents are always fully autonomous. That's not exactly so. It's quite okay if we have some human in the loop, but agents make many multi-step decisions without constant user input. So it can not necessarily to be fully autonomous, but it makes a lot of decisions by their own. They can execute different code tools. They can make multi-step plans to doing something. And what's interesting, they're evolving. They have some dynamic reasoning and becomes better and better of usage. So now when we understand what is agents, we are going to the first decision. This decision, when we are building any solution, should we go with agent? Should we go with just chatbot, usually powered by RAG, retrieval engine generation, or even maybe with fine-tuned LLM model? Why not? But anyway, this is just a chatbot assistant. And deterministic automation. What is deterministic automation? That's our usual automation based on conditional access, based on described rules, if, or, and something else. Yep, so these 3 points. Of course, we are using a deterministic approach when workflow is predictable. Yeah, so if we understand what we have to do, usually we are not using agents. Sometimes we can really, but usually for prototype, when you don't have time to implement this rule-based workflow. For some testers, you sometimes using LLM and providing this description just like a prompt for it, but for very small projects. And of course, it's not a solution. So just giving like an example. Yep, but usually if workflow is predictable and stable, then we are just making our common and usual software development. RAG we are using when task is grounded. User needs just information from some documents or some information which we can provide to it. And we use agents when task requires multi-step reasoning, when agent must orchestrate tool calls, different tool calls, when workflow adapts based on the intermediate results. So, for example, we have done this tool for 5 client requests. After this, we want to improve for next 5 client requests and so on. Human in the loop also really good with using of agents, and we have a lot of examples. To be too long, do not read till there. Is a workflow stable and codifiable? Going with usual regular automation. Do not use agents. If we need just information, going with RAG. If it requires tool calls and reasoning, yes, then we are going with agent. If you can tolerate non-determinism, so what is non-determinism? Determinism is when we totally understand what will be the answer. Non-determinism when we say, okay, it can be many different answers and all of them are good. So if you are going about math, resolving some math task, of course, it's determinism and you have only some set of right questions and you can easily understand what's right or not. If you want to use a large language model to prepare, for example, I don't know, new marketing positioning of your product, it can be many different answers and all of them will be good. Some marketing slogans and other things. So it calls non-determinism when we have many different answers, and it's quite okay that they're different if they're made according to some internal rules. Okay, so yes, agent. If no, we are going to automation. In Cloud Adoption Framework, we have many such decision trees, and we can use them, and we will speak about them later. Yeah, so right now, I think that you got some idea about this presentation, about Cloud Adoption Framework, about its task, and what information you can get from it, and you have some overview. And now I want to share when you will use Cloud Adoption Framework and what it's helpful for your company. My work with Cloud Adoption Framework starts just a few years ago, regardless that I'm working with Microsoft technology more than 25 years, and 6 years of them I was working for Microsoft. I met Cloud Adoption Framework when we had to pass Microsoft AI partner, Azure AI advanced specialization, so top level for AI. It provides you some access to Microsoft guided incentives, financial incentives, what is really reasonable and interesting, but you have to pass some third-party assessment. So you are going. It was a few years ago. Right now, but rules are changing. They're changing every year, but more or less they're similar. So you have to prepare description of your enterprise projects, provide a lot of materials, demos, how it was done, proofs, and everything else. And with these proofs, you are going to external third-party agency, which are validating that you are working not necessarily with cloud adoption framework, but with some framework, and this framework is reasonable, and there are a lot of criteria, you have to meet them. And we took cloud adoption framework just to prepare this our internal workflow, to set up our internal process, our own software development lifecycle, not only to pass this Microsoft certification, but first of all to make a predictable and manageable process of implementation of our own solution. And cloud adoption framework was very good for us. It changes our life, and we were so happy that now we have a manageable and repeatable process of reusing a lot of documentations, approaches. We just increase the quality of our products, and that's really great. Of course, we have received a certification, and now after a few years, this year I have the honor to be one of external collaborator as Microsoft Most Valuable Professional, and I just a bit make small review preparing new Azure AI agent framework, and I can say that it's really fun process. Inside there are many people, they are working hard, and I can't of course give any details, but I want to say that it's not something just generated from ChatGPT or something else. Yes, it's really a result of work of very big team, very experienced guys, and we were working hard to make this framework very good, very useful for you. Okay, now let's go to first part of framework, to the plan sessions. It's really great to start planning your implementation of agents from the end, from the required outputs. First of all, we want to understand what we want in results. What should be? Use case backlog. Very interesting thing. Right now, I'm working with many business cases from different customers, and of course, marketing hype rules everywhere. They're coming with so crazy ideas, and we have to find the balance, something what is motivating for them, what provide clear ROI, and also it viable. We can do it. It can be secure and manageable, so on. So this is a really interesting point to prioritize use case backlog, maybe using low-hanging fruits approach and others. We have set up success metrics and measurement plan. We have to make some platform decisions. So going, for example, with SaaS adoption, maybe we can use some built-in Microsoft first-party agents. They are also available, and we don't have to reinvent the bicycle. For example, I don't know, like a researcher, which is already available in the platform. Sometimes we have to decide regarding operating model, so it will be regarding business process, who will be in team, how we will work, and of course, last but not least, of course, this is a data readiness plan. We have to understand what data do we have, what we have access to it, skills, and every other things. So this is planning. Going to first part of plan, going to business plan, we are working with business consultant, usually trying to align agents to business strategy. One common error, common mistake, when they're starting to say, okay, let's do agent for something what is not so important, just to test, because it's a pilot, yes? This approach doesn't work. Of course, it's reasonable, yes, we don't have to push to our new experimental agent some our key workflow, revenue-generated workflow, we cannot do this. But also, if we are going with something what is not important, we don't have a lot of support from stakeholders, we don't have a lot of effort from employees, we don't have a lot of budget, and really these pilot projects without clear goal, clear ROI, not so important, they never begin successful. So what we have to do? We have to build something in parallel. So you are taking a really important workflow, something revenue generated, what is critical for company, and you don't break it. You are building something in parallel, yes, trying to find other approach or to add additional value to existing workflows, but it should be really beneficial to company. Of course, you will go from cool demos into measurable outcomes. Right now, with this, a lot of hype and AI scam, it's many AI solutions, and they are also beautiful and so promising, but we don't understand what will be the business. Don't show to customer how cool is this agent, how cool it's working, but show to the customer how he will reduce his job to be done, or what the benefits they will have, and so on. And we have to establish decision gate from every beginning. Should we continue or stop based on some evidence? What should be the milestones? What should be the criteria to go or not go? And of course, we need sponsorship and funding aligned to expected business value. When we are speaking about agents, it's really interesting point because we are changing the business processes. So many customer employees are involved and other things. So we really need executive sponsorship support and we need funding. So if it's big and important question, yes, it's better to have all resources which you need for this project before you start. That's business plan. One more time, check when not to use agents. If we can do without agents, let's do without agents. If we need just knowledge management, using RAG. And other things. If latency and cost predictable is critical, yep. So sometimes, I don't know, for example, hotline support, and we are speaking with customer, especially in voice mode, and then we have to build a solution which answering very fast. Agent may be not the best solution, maybe sometimes, yes. For example, we were building AI coaching app with voice support, and when we made a really comprehensive solution, I can show. Yes, so that's our experiment for coaching app. I'm in Microsoft Foundry new with workflow. Each of these stages is special agent. Yes, and we can see this multi-agent system. Yes, and we have meet the question. So it provides really great question, really interesting, but thinking so slow, thinking so long that for voice mode it's not so pleasant. Yep, so we should take a balance with latency, of course, with the cost. And it's also important when we are planning some user case for our agents. If human review of every decision is required, then going to deterministic workflow, don't go to multi-agent system if it's something very regulate area, or our customers just want to check everything what is doing, every branch, every small decision, then of course it's better to build deterministic workflow, maybe powered with RAG, but anyway, not going to agents. Okay. When agents make sense, of course, this multi-step reasoning, dynamic decisions, many different tools. When we need human just to approve the most critical tasks, you can work with incident response, with complex research workflows, adaptive customer support, software development to build such solution and others. Yep. So when you have these use cases, you have discussed them, and based on previous information, we understand what's good, what's best. You can set up a weight for each of use case and make a prioritization scoreboard. I will. It's quite impossible for this small, short time frame to show and explain you all cloud options framework. I'm just helping you to understand how it's working, why what's the logic behind its recommendation. For other slides, I will go just a bit more faster, but just to give overview, not going into details. So regarding plan, right now we are in plan. We will define success metrics before buildings, reasonable. In plan, we are going to technology plan and making primary decision. So we can use some already SaaS agent, do not invent the bicycle. So there are many agents developed by Microsoft partners. Agents which are built in Microsoft Copilot 365, or some agents which are which can be built with Agent Builder, with or with Copilot Studio, or with Azure Foundry. So there are many different options. We don't try to reinvent the bicycle. Sorry. Check it. We have Microsoft 365 Copilot agents. Don't forget about Microsoft Copilot Chat. You can also use your agent with Copilot Chat. Some of them are free, but if you are using some premium features, such as connection to Graph, to some external systems, then you can go with matured payment. So you will buy some security Copilot Studio capacity, and it will be provisioned as pay as you go through the Microsoft Azure. So Microsoft 365 Copilot agents and Copilot Chat also. Also, we have a lot of security Copilot. We have Fabric data agents, Fabric IQ, GitHub Copilot agents. I'm showing the example right now, and the agents for Microsoft Dynamics, and really many other agents can be shown and provided. So when we're speaking about agents, it's not just Microsoft 365 Copilot agents. There are many different agents in Microsoft ecosystem. Yep, so we have understanding this. We are choosing build path if we want to go with custom agent. Would it be Foundry? Would it be Copilot Studio? Or you can, by the way, use Azure with containers just to implement inside this container everything what you want. So there is decision tree in the documentation. The decision tree even much more comprehensive. Yep. So that's my preferred part. I'm all trying to use this like very good for me balance between functionality, between flexibility, and less effort to implement and less effort to monitor and manage this when we are using Microsoft Foundry as platform as a service build path. So for example, this solution is built right in this variant. Yes, when we are building the workflow, we can do it even without code, or if we want, we can do it with YAML or with Python. Yes, and run it and use it. Give me a second. Yes, or we can use Copilot Studio, low-code solution. You got a lot of information about it. Or you can use containers and GPU, so you can just rent required capacity, required virtual machine or containers, and launch there anything. But be careful, because then you will own security, patching, scaling, observability, incident response, everything else. So for some scenarios, of course, it's reasonable, but it's really comprehensive and a lot of effort required to this. After you validate technology choices, there are many choice boxes are provided. You can go into organizational readiness. There you have RASI matrix provided by Microsoft and GAF, when you can see the main options, what you have to done, and who will be responsible, who will do what, and so on. So this, of course, you can adapt it for yourself. That's just a starting point. And please remember that one person in reality can hold 2, 3, 4 roles, and so on. It doesn't mean that one role is one person. Then we will go into data architecture plan, going to responsible AI policy, and there we are going to govern to second point, security. So as I have mentioned in the start, it's security-driven development. We are starting with security. We are speaking about responsible AI. I'm totally sure that you are familiar with this concept. We choose responsible AI and governance on all stages, or even on design, testing, pre-release, and so on. And we have control plane. That's new options available in Microsoft Azure. I'm totally sure that you can see a lot of them, and many of them will be released this year. Anyway, so this going on the main ideas regarding data governance, observability, evaluation, agent security, and development standards. At last but not least, with govern, of course, we will go regarding privacy controls, boundaries, minimization of data which you need, residency. You have a lot of options for region selections, and that's really great approach for Azure, and many things done by Microsoft to be compliant with EU acts and different national requirements. So that's really good, but we have to check it. And of course, last point is data governance. We are using sensitive labels, and we are trying to understand what data we need, how we will get access, and what we can do with this data. I do love evaluations. I do love observability of agents because it's really interesting point to check what's happening. And Microsoft make a lot of built-in evaluation studio, and I think that Microsoft is one of leading provider of this type of solutions from the beginning. So please use them in Azure Foundry. I can just show just there. You can go to traces, and you can run something and check it. You can go to monitor your agents. It's demo standard, so we don't have any data, but it's built in. It's very fast. You can run evaluation, for example, by prepared metrics, or even you can grade some evaluation data set with built-in options. So everything is ready for you. Please use it. But it's very important on this stage to understand which metrics we will use, what you will do if it will go to a red flag, for example, and so on. So this idea is not technical, but to describe how you will use this easy and powerful tools provided by Microsoft. So you need a plan. Of course, we will plan cost quote with different calculators, understanding what happens and so on. Yep. And some things are specific to AI agents. So many things that I have described before, they are common and they're going to any Azure solution. Please check special CAF part regarding specific threat model, which are available only for AI and AI agents. Set up security and control governance not only for AI agents, but for tools also. Software development lifecycle, environment, which should be prepared with Azure landing zone and other things, and different go, no go gates. Only after this big comprehensive security part, we are going to build. And that's really great because right now it's rather easy to build your first agent using, for example, agentic framework, using GitHub Copilot, or even just a visual builder in workflow. Yep, so you're using standard component. Please give attention to memory. Right now, I think it's about interesting point. Yes, and try to standardize everything what can be done, because standardization will help you for scalability of the project. Sometimes you have to choose single agent system with multi-agent system, but in reality, usually we are going to multi-agent. As I have promised, I have just 5 minutes left, so we just make an overview of all sections of the CAF, not going them in details. Code-driven development requirement guide development is really important to keep all instructions, because they will be also useful for AI coding assistants and so on. So documentation right now becomes again usable, because in most cases not human being will read it, but AI will read it, and that's really important. I have shown you in the start that even in this small solution, we have these instructions and documentation of instructions to be able to repeat the solution if needed. You're choosing model selection strategy, of course, everything updated. That's just for example. Right now, we are speaking about GPT-5 model. It seems to be outdated already, so maybe you can continue using of it, but you can start with it. So we are starting with GPT-5 mini for one cases and GPT-5 for other cases where we need complex reasoning, or thousands of other models available from Hugging Space and other sources. Then we are going to knowledge, going to tools and memory, and after this we are going to, last but not least, manage. It's not enough to plan the evaluation and anything else on the governance stage. After you have deployed the solution, you have to recheck your evaluation and monitor strategy, because when you were building, new things come to the table. And you have to set up also the business process, who, when will do this monitoring. And that's what we are speaking there. And working with agents, Microsoft Vision, and I'm totally agree with this, that we should plan our managing strategy based of thousands of agents, which we'll be using in our enterprise in next year. Yeah, so just from beginning, we don't think about one agent, 2, 3, not about hundreds, about thousands. And when we have to manage thousands, we cannot do it manual way, no way. So we will use Agent 365, Entra ID, and other things, and a lot of policies, so we can do it automatically. Of course, adoption, really important. User adoption, system adoption, business process adoption, and other things. Don't forget to retire your unused agents when needed. It's quite understandable. Don't forget to monitor it. Security and compliance, not one time approach. So we are starting with security compliance, but we continue it during all the process. Should be done cost optimization on the go. That's our day-to-day work. We check evaluation of accuracy each time, so it should be done automatically, and we have to know about any issues before our users. We have to measure success in terms of business plan, not in terms of work, not work, but in terms of business benefits. So, summary in one slide, if you want to do it. Yep. So it's plan, starting with plan, then going to governance security, then build, and then manage. That's our main lifecycle loop, which is described in Cloud Adoption Framework. So, what to start? Pick 3 candidate use cases, score them, choose best one, maybe best two, and try to implement. Practice is the most important things. Please connect me on LinkedIn. I'm trying to share information. I'm really a very open person. You can see that I'm highly motivated about technology, about implementation technology in business. So I'm very open, and I would love to answer any questions and maybe to have some offline contacts also, and other things. There are different discussion topics, and I will love to share them. Okay, it seems to me that I'm pretty on time. By my clock, I have 1 minute left. So let me return to the main presentation. Yep, Marcel. How are you, my friend? Do we have any questions from the chat?
Yeah, where is a comment? Wait a second. Okay, it's only recording, but I have a question prepared. So you talk about adoption, and so for me it was a journey with M365 Con, but I learned from every perspective. So because if we talk about AI agent adoption, we have an massive game changer now in the, I would say, M365 Azure and Copilot world. That means now we need to involve, I would say, so many different roles in a company, like a defender specialist and a compliance officer with Purview. So regarding to that, what role do skills and need to do and change management regarding to this new setting in the Microsoft world? So it's not so easy to implement. I think it's in one agent for 365, but for example, I work in Germany and I know the European country companies. So where so the greater companies have for every role and member, and the smaller companies said, "Oh yeah, our IT admin do that." So, but he's totally, from my side, I think, overruled, because the most companies I know didn't use Microsoft Purview. The most companies I know. I know a lot of companies in Germany and other companies too, but I would say 90% of them only use it for Teams or for document management, but only for that. And now we need someone come here and say, "Oh, you're compliance manager. You are responsible for Purview. You are now responsible for agents." And on the other part, we saw here a perfect session from Sebastian. He said, "Okay, the Entra admin is now responsible not for persons and groups only and manage identities. He is responsible for agents too." And this is a big, from my side of thinking, a big mind shift in the IT world. And I don't know if the people of all these different technology stacks knows what is coming up to. What do you think?
First of all, thank you. It resonates a lot with me because I was on 4-day business trips to Munich. And just now, I'm just from the plane. Yes, going back to my home in Bulgaria. But early morning, I take the flight with Wizz Air. Sorry, it's not an advertisement at all. Yes, and for 4 days in Munich, I have visited 3 events, speaking with Germany guys. So one event was in Microsoft Munich office regarding partners. I can share details, but it was Microsoft Vision for partners. Other was meeting with AI meetup, so with IT guys, not only working in Microsoft, but overall. That was interesting. And other was HR and artificial intelligence made by a local community, where I have met a lot of coaches, learning and development, and we were speaking about adoption and how we can use it and how they're using this in German company. So it's really, really interesting. And also I want to share that I have professional certification for change management by ProSci. I have Ericsson coaching. So working with artificial intelligence, we cannot work just with technology. Nonsense. We are changing organizations. If we want to have business effect, we have to work with people. And that's intersection, and that's really challenging in our job. In short, when you say to someone, regardless, Bulgaria, Germany, you're responsible for something, usually it's, yes, you got the idea, yes, you have to push back. Oh, no, I don't respond. I'm responsible too much. Yes, everybody of them. So, yes, that's reasonable. Quite. Please come to me and say you are responsible for this, and I'm not sure that I will be so pleasant person as this really. So we have to find why they need it. What will be the benefit for them? Yes, and we want to share this vision, the vision of success. And only after this, we can to decide how we can do it, but each time trying to reduce the mess. Yep, so we are part of Microsoft Frontier program, so I was playing with Microsoft 365 agents for some time. Yes, it's really just my personal opinion. Yes, my personal opinion. Frustrating, yes, because you have users and you have agents above the users. Yes, so it looks like the agents are more important. Of course, or not. I think maybe that's alphabetical order or something like this. But yes, it's frustrating. And sometimes I have even the request from customers that I want an AI agent which will be quite the salesperson as I have. And for me, it's too wishful thinking, and it's also an issue for us because when they have too high expectation based on not understanding the details and other things, it's difficult to meet the requirements. So, in short, don't keep attention on it. Don't try to be fast. Speak with customer. Explain that it can be beneficial. Of course, there is limitations. Try to find supporter on each stage, starting from executive sponsors to IT guys, to salespersons, to sales supervisors, and step by step trying to adopt something and put a lot of effort to explain to everyone what's happening, what can be done, what shouldn't be done, how we can manage it, and so on.
Good answer.
Yes. I was asked to be afraid that I'm speaking too much.
Yeah, it was a really impressive overview, and I think all of the sessions was ever been missing point to others. So amazing. So I think there was nearly no doubling, but all. So I think not all up, but I think this was 30% of all sessions was about agents, I would say, and I think this is really interesting. So many people talk about a topic like that, and it's so mightyful that you learn from every session, and this is really really impressive from my side to say I was on every session or in every session, and I said, yeah, this is really really nice to see how many things you need to do to make this successful. And so that's why we as consultants have a big task set, I would say, to say, okay, you need to do this, that, and we can help you. And this is this was, I think I will take a look on your video, I think 2 or 3 times again, because I really like the slide deck, and governance is a so important part. So first thing, when you can do something and when you can try, you can somewhere on a test environment. But if you want to do something productive, you need to think first, and this is or second was on the step about security. And if you have not done all your to-dos in your company, you can say, you as an AI responsible or agent responsible person, must do your homework and talk with all the admins in your company. This is your task. Yeah, really cool. So this helps. I want to thank you. So I think we have only 5 minutes left. And the next session is Frank Falvey. In 5 minutes, building AI agents with Copilot Studio. Yeah, I wish you a nice evening. You in Thailand? You said Thailand? What?
I have just 1 hour front of you, so it's 8 p.m. for me. That's quite okay.
So when I would say, have a
But
nice
anyway,
evening.
Friday.
We see us again. Bye.
See you. Bye. Thank you.
The Microsoft ecosystem is evolving faster than ever. Copilot, Power Platform, security, modern work, Azure AI, new features every week, new opportunities every day. But learning is scattered. Events are expensive, limited, and difficult to access. That changes now. Welcome to M365 Con, the world's largest online Microsoft 365 convention. 2 powerful weeks, 1 week of workshops, 1 week of free global talks and keynotes. Build your own learning path with expert-led workshops. From Power Platform to security, from Copilot to Azure AI, you choose what matters to you. Then join over 60 free sessions with most valuable professionals, Microsoft trainers, architects, and innovators from around the world. Meet the community, explore the virtual expo, connect with experts, and be part of a global Microsoft experience. Accessible, global, interactive, and designed for every Microsoft 365 professional. M365 Con, your community, your learning path, your Microsoft 365 future.
Hi, I'm Sean, and I train people to become Power Platform Solutions Architects. If you're watching this, you know Power Platform, but be honest, when you're building a solution, are you using the best tools to solve the problem, or just the tools you know? If you love building powerful, scalable solutions that make your company money, let me share why our training is different. We've noticed that the best architects know a series of best practices and they apply them to every project. So we took all these best practices and put them into this course.
Welcome to Power Bros Knowledge, where Power Platform meets pure innovation. Your business runs on chaos, approvals lost, data scattered, time wasted. We know that pain. Now imagine automating everything, faster, smarter, and built for impact. That's where Power Bros come in, architects of digital change. We don't talk trends, we build results. Our Knowledge Hub turns expertise into action, real tutorials, real automation, real impact. Whether it's Power Apps, Automate, Logic Apps, or Entra, we make it work together, smarter. Join the Power Bros movement, 30,000 professionals learning, building, and sharing every day. Ready to transform your workflows? Book us now, and let's build something legendary together.
Hello and a warm welcome to the M365 Con. Today here with me, Frank Foley. Nice to meet you. Your topic for today, building AI agents with Microsoft in Copilot Studio. The stage is yours. Warm welcome.
Very good. Thank you, Marcel. I'm just going to share my few slides here first, guys, and start from the beginning. Okay, so building AI agents with Microsoft Copilot Studio, and we'll do a live demo with one or two of them towards the end. Just a couple of slides. Suppose a little bit about me. I'm a Microsoft MVP in the M365 Copilot category, and I kind of do a lot of stuff with obviously Copilot with Office, like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and all that. And more recently, then I've been doing some stuff with Copilot Studio. So this is kind of few things about me there. I'm a Microsoft certified trainer as well, and a few of the certifications I got along the way there: Azure Administrator and Solutions Architect. So moving on. So this slide here, I just throw in here first because I find the people are kind of getting a little kind of confused sometimes when they hear Gen AI and traditional AI. So the Gen AI is the kind of new one we've seen the last couple of years.
You must share your slides.
Could you hear me okay?
Yeah, but you have not the slides online.
They're not on?
They're not shown.
Okay, 1 second now. I just have to do the presenting. 1 second now. Okay. Okay, hello. Can you see that screen there now?
Yes, now we see the slides. Yes,
okay. Okay, sorry about that, guys. And just start from the beginning. So building AI agents with Microsoft Copilot, and I'll do a demo towards the end there with one or two agents. So as I was talking a bit about myself there, so I'm a Microsoft MVP, an MCT, and there are a few of the certificates I picked up along the way. So I already kind of more or less talked through that. So we just get going. So I tend to put this slide up at the start because I think people get confused with Gen AI and traditional AI. So basically, Gen AI is kind of the new thing that's been around the last couple of years. You know, when people hear about ChatGPT and all the prompts they put in. So basically, it's for text and images and videos, that sort of stuff. So that's your Gen AI, and the Gen at the start is kind of generating. So that's how you get the difference. And then our traditional AI has been around for a long time with machine learning and stuff like that, you know, voice assistants, and it kind of performs kind of one task. You put something in, you get something out, you know, that kind of way. So that's just a quick overview on that. So how do AI agents work? Basically, you put in a prompt, and a prompt, like you just don't throw in one or two words. Say you want to build something like a HR agent that gives out all the policies and things at work and answer any questions you want. So you need to put in a kind of good detailed prompt, so that, you know, and then you got to pick your model, what sort of model that you want. Like people hear 4.0, 4.1, and now Copilot is 5.2. So they're all the different models. And then you got all your tools then that come with like your APIs and databases and websites and SharePoint sites and all that kind of stuff. And then you get your response come out. So that's basically how they kind of work. So some of the stuff that they use in the background, these are open source kind of frameworks that you use to build the agents. But with Microsoft now in the Copilot Studio, they have all this done in the background. So only just to kind of give you a flavor for it. So on the left-hand side there, you kind of got your Bing, your ChatGPT and Copilot, and you put in all your plugins and the semantic kernel. So these are open source software development kits, and they're free to download from the internet. So there's another one then as well. It's called AutoGen. So AutoGen is something similar. It's another framework for creating multi-agent applications, and it can act autonomously, and it can use lots of agents, kind of. So you can have different agents talking to other agents. Like we'd say you might have a HR agent, and then it might have an IT agent and an onboarding agent. So these would all kind of talk to each other when you're kind of taking on new employees. It could be handy to have one of these sort of things. So that's just an overview of those two. Okay, so these, I'm not going to read through the whole lot of them, but these are some of the stuff like the AI agents in Azure, right? You can the open AI assistant APIs, and you see the two I just talked about there, the semantic kernel and AutoGen. And we have the one then in the middle, that Copilot Studio, right? That's the low-code development environment for building and deploying agents. And that's the one I'm going to show you towards the end. So this is kind of to show you how all these agents talk to each other. Like this one is an autonomous agent. So like the autonomous ones are where you just put everything together and you don't need any human interaction that to get involved in anything. Like, so all the different agents, like you got the orchestration agent there that kind of coordinates all the different kind of complex tasks. You've got the guardrails that so gives guidance, make sure the operation is safe and you're not doing anything illegal, and process automation. And then you got the integration AI reasoning as well. So they kind of just go all around in circle, kind of different triggers to activate different conditions. So there is the last one down there, seek, you know, if something happens and they need to seek human assistance, that's one of the agents there. So that's the autonomous one. So this is the spectrum of agents. One second, I move that out of the way. So the first one is the simple retrieval agent, right? You can just set that agent up. I'm going to do a demo on that one. That's just a simple thing. Like you could just have like an agent that goes searching the internet for you and bringing you back single responses, you know, answers to your questions. And then you got the other one, the task, right? This is one like it automates workflows, and it kind of replaces repetitive tasks, like I was saying there with the HR agent, where you'd have a lot of employees coming, joining your company, and they want to ask about different policies, like how much holidays do I get, and where's the onboarding taking place, all repetitive tasks that HR would have. So they could free up a lot of their time by using these agents. So somebody sends them an email and asks them something, the agent will reply. So it saves a lot of human intervention. And the last one then is the autonomous one, where it kind of showed you the circle where it'll kind of orchestrate all the other agents to learn and escalate. Like the autonomous one is like can be your self-driving car as well. So that's the kind of the spectrum of agents. Second now. So this is kind of a company that actually uses one of those retrieval agents, the simple one. So Wells Fargo used Copilot Studio, to help his equip his bankers with chat-like search agents that help them find procedural documents to assist customers with their financial needs. So you can see some of the figures there. Now it takes 30 seconds instead of 10 minutes to do something. So that's 20 times faster than what they used to use before. And they've got 4,000, over 4,000 branches, and they've got kind of something over 1,000 documents to navigate. So if you had to go searching through all those documents for a customer, it's going to take a long time. And so Wells Fargo decided that they'll use these agents to help their employees be more efficient. So we have a graph here. You can just see the graph there, like they've got 4,100 branches, and now you see it's 75% more efficient because the retrieval agents will go and search for the stuff. So that's kind of where it can kind of help different companies in different areas. So these Copilot, right? You'll see that in your browser. Every employee will have one. It'll work as your personal assistant, and it's just grounded in your own content and your emails and stuff like that. It's just your UI for AI, basically. And the other one, then they're the agents. Then every business process will have an agent, like the Wells Fargo there, they have an agent, and they're basically to help, with their systems to be more efficient. Like it works on behalf of employees and teams and functions. So it's connected to Copilot or an autonomous one. So that's the kind of agents thing. So you see the breakdown on the right-hand side of it there, right? Agents, they're kind of tailored to your unique business process. And it's got employee self-serve, SharePoint agents, and Dynamic 365 agents as well. You can also use third-party ones. When we log on to the demo there in a minute, I'll kind of show you some of these. So Adobe's got loads from ServiceNow, SAP. So it's not just all Microsoft. There's loads from, I think there could be something like with Microsoft, you can access over something like 10,000 of these pre-built agents already. So it's really moving on fast now. This thing about agents, AI agents. So these are some of the agents that Copilot Studio. There's a lot of pre-built ones already, like finance, marketing. So the HR one is one of the ones I'm going to do today, and we'll do a simple retrieval one then as well. So just for people who want to use Copilot Studio, you need a separate license. So you have to have an M365 license. That's your Office license. And then you have to get a separate license, then Copilot Studio. So that's around $240 a year for that one. So that's $20 a month if you're just paid by the month. So it's a little expensive. So that's kind of this is a slide just I saw, like you hear the word agentic, right? So that means it's autonomous, agentic, in like a driverless car. So it's doing all these things like all the problems and solutions and benefits, right? So you're navigating through complex traffic situations autonomously. So it's making real-time decisions on the fly for you. So, so the benefits is improving safety and efficiency in transport. So this is the kind of approach you use, data, collecting real-time data. Obviously, the sensors, they know if there's cars back, how far away they are, and that. So it's analyzing the data all the time and understand the traffic patterns. It's making decisions based on the analysis. And then it does the execution, then like making real-time maneuvers in traffic. So that's kind of agentic. If you hear that word agentic, that means it's autonomous. So this is kind of what it kind of looks like. It's generally available now, Copilot Studio Agent Builder. So that's kind of what it actually looks like. And we'll just move on from that. So like you can build your own agents, publish your own agents, very easy, and the large language models are all kind of built into it. You can either pick your own one or they suggest them for you, but we'll see that going forward. So it's besides first-party agents, you can build your own one, your own scenario, basically. All the different platforms in there are connected into it, like it's integrated with Azure AI Studios, Azure Cognitive Services, Azure Bot Frameworks, and Power Platforms AI models, and lots more, like Power BI and kind of stuff like that. You can integrate all that kind of stuff into it. And Microsoft has kind of the governance and control features as well, full visibility of customization, standalone agents, and as well as who's building and customizing them. So obviously you have to have control, like you can't just throw it out to everybody in the company or in your office or wherever. And there's a thing that I kind of came across recently, that like if you've got a HR agent, you just want somebody in HR just to be controlling that agent. You don't want to just give all the agents to your IT department and say, okay, make me an agent for this, an agent for that, an agent for that, because they just get burnt out because they wouldn't be able to control the whole lot. So the ideal approach is to have somebody, we'd say in HR, that will look after the HR agent, and that's it. Say it's somebody then for customer service, they just have somebody looking after that, because you can't have one person looking after all the agents. It's not really feasible, especially if that person leaves the company, all your agents are up in the air. So that's how to get started. Definitely, this is a good one, right? So you need to know what your agent is going to address. Have a talk with your department, see what they want to do. There's no point just spinning up an agent and seeing where you're going to end up, because in the background, it does cost you money, because how many, I think it's on the next slide, we'll cover that. But like, you've got kind of business to employee ones, like the HR ones there, automated approvals, so people are going on holidays, and business to customer ones there, where you can manage claims and requests and update account information. And then you've got the B2B, or business to business. So you could use that for onboarding new suppliers, submitting invoices and payments. So you can do a lot with these agents. So this slide here, now I'm not going to cover everything on it because there's a lot, but this is kind of where the cost comes in, how much it's going to cost you for your company. As I was saying there, like, this is in sterling, so it's kind of 19. So you got a free part where the Copilot, Microsoft Copilot on the edge, or you can just get the Copilot Pro one there, where it costs you 19 sterling per month. And just over here where the Copilot, like, so for, we were talking about our HR onboarding, right? So that's a consumption model, right? So you could pick, we'd say, if you knew how many messages or how many requests that you would get from your company, this is how much we'd say for 25,000 messages, right? The cost is £165 per month. So like, it can add up. So, you know, these agents are not free. So you're going to pay for the license first to start it up, and then you're going to pay for your consumption then, like, for 165 per month for 25,000. Obviously, if you're a bigger company, then as well, it would actually increase. Okay. And if anybody wants any of these slides later, you can just reach out to me and I'll share them on LinkedIn. So there's some interesting websites there where you can actually get stuff like aka.ms/Copilot Studio. They have a blog as well where they kind of show a lot of stuff about it. A lot of learning stuff there, Copilot Studio Learn, and then there's a community page then as well. So if anybody, there's a free trial. So on the left hand side there, you got aka.ms/try Copilot Studio, and you get a free trial there for a month for that one. So we flip over to, and we get into our Copilot. 1 second now. Sorry, just 1 second now. Copilot Studio. And I just forgot to tell you as well, there's Microsoft has got this website, it's called adoption.microsoft.com, and it's got all the kind of scenarios and all the stuff there, all the download stuff and that. Just 1 second now, and I'll just find my Copilot Studio to log in. Okay, just sign in. And there you can see there's the free trial is actually on here when you go to there. Okay, so here you can see on the left-hand side, there's a few of them already that they've got built. There's researcher, there's analyst, and this is a new one I just see popped up there, Microsoft 365 admin. And some of the ones I actually made earlier. So you can go up here to the library, and as I was saying, there's a lot of third-party ones actually in here as well. So if we just go down to all agents here, you can see the ones up in the top there that Microsoft have kind of put together. Some of the ones that I actually made here myself. So we're just going to go to new agent here, and we'll start one off. So we'll just go to make a retrieval agent first of all, okay? There we go. So it pops up here. This is what it actually looks like, right? So your new agent. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just make a garden agent, right? Everybody knows a bit of gardening. Garden agent. A garden agent, okay? And then we go down here to where it says describe your agent, okay? So you see it's actually configuring it over there on the left already. So we want it to help us with gardening. Okay. 1 second now. My spelling right. Gardening. Okay. Right. So we'll just copy that and we'll throw it in down here as well, the instructions. This is onto the configure, so I'm just going to click over here to describe what we want. Okay, so Copilot, I'm just putting there, help us with gardening, okay? So it's just going to figure out what we want. So it's coming up here now. See on the right hand side is gardening assistant. It's giving us a name, and it's giving us kind of some details here. Would you like to add a knowledge source? First of all, it says clear, helpful description and purposes. Yeah. So what we'll do is your agent is going to tips and troubleshooting support and keynote things, right? So it's given us 3 things there. So we're just going to copy them out, right? And we're going to put them in down here into the bottom part here, and we can just put that in, and it'll right. So it's all just giving us step-by-step support and goals and on the gardening. So we'll just go back up to configure here again now, and we'll see. You see, it's after putting in all these things now, right? So it's after giving us a different description of provide helpful advice, tips. So I paste that into the other window there the last time, right? So it's kind of giving us instructions here, and this, when you scroll down here, it's giving us, if you wanted to add a knowledge base, say if you had a website that you get all your gardening tips, you could actually put that in, or you can actually upload stuff from emails or from the web. So we're not just going to do anything, we're just going to do that. So this part here suggests prompts, okay? So you can actually move these around, or you can delete them, or you can add more yourself. So we're just going to go with the ones that Copilot Studio, because look, it's giving us plant care, gardening, design ideas, seasonal advice, okay? So these are the main prompts over here that it's giving us, but we just want to ask it something simple. So we're going to test it over here in the window, type your message. We'll just ask it, how do let's say, how do I care for roses? Okay, simple out. And we'll hit the enter button then, okay? So this is a simple retrieval agent, basically. Look, so it's telling us rose care. Roses love sun. 6 hours direct sunlight. It's telling us about pruning. It's telling us about mulching, and watch for problems like black spot and all good stuff there like that. So then it's asking us, you know, what kind of roses do you have? So that's a simple retrieval agent. So I'm just going to go over here and we'll go for a new agent, okay? One second now, just delete that one, because I already have one of these gardening buddies. So you can see here, there's some of the ones I made over the last couple of months, and there's my gardening guru that's in there. He's in there twice. But we're going now to, we say, do a HR one, okay? So we're going to new agent. One second now, click on new agent up the top right hand corner there. So create a HR. Look, see, it knows I'm talking about HR already, so it's getting clever every time, okay? And it's kind of throwing up stuff down the bottom there as well. Create HR agent. Okay, and we're just going to hit the enter button then. So it knows, you'll see on the right hand side here now, it'll actually start to populate once it knows what we're looking for. Okay, so your HR agent is now set up with the following key things, right? So it's saying HR assistant could be the name. Okay, so it's actually configured it here by itself. And it looks at all the kind of different scenarios, like description, support HR tasks, answering HR policy questions, and I won't read all of it now because it's just a demo, right? You can test the agent, and like it's telling you everything what you can actually do. You can test the agent in the chat and adjust the details further if you want to add a company policy form or whatever. So I'm going to show you how to actually do that as well. So it's giving you the prompt here, add HR documents. or include onboarding resources, or just you need to think there if you just want to click on add content here. Well, we'll just click over to the other configure window here. And you can see again, it's given us all the information, HR tasks such as answering HR questions, providing onboarding, and then it's given us all the instructions again here on this this window. So it's saying like we want responsible, professionally, and empathetically to all HR inquiries, use clear, concise language, respect employee confidence. And as I say, no, I won't read everything down here. So it's given kind of example interactions then as well, right? So the user here, so some of the questions, right? You can, how do you apply for parental leave? The agent is given an answer. To apply for parental leave, complete the parental leave application and submit it to HR. So there, so it's giving you a kind of whole kind of example. And another one, the user, who do I contact about benefit questions, right? So, and then it answers the question. It says, for benefit questions, you can contact the benefit coordinator and benefits. So that's it. There's the knowledge base one again here. And here is the questions, right? You can create images as well. I just forgot to show you this one up here in the top as well. If you wanted to put in your own logo, you could just click on this thing here and you could put in a description inside here, and you can upload pictures to describe your own site and stuff like that. So we'll just leave it as the default for now. That's that one. Just go back to the description again. So it's here you can actually, we can add HR policy documents. We can click on this one. You can add content. So you can find wherever your policy documents are, and you can upload them inside here then, and just hit this one too. Let me just hit this 1 second now. And it'll find some HR policy documents. Okay, so this one is just kind of telling us you can use SharePoint sites, Teams, or your HR policy page on the web or wherever like that. So, and this one is giving you the prompts already. So like say if you wanted to add your HR policy website, you could click on this prompt. It will actually go in there and you hit enter. Okay, so I'm just going to do a test on the HR assistant over here. So we'll say something like, how many holidays do I get? Okay, and we'll just hit enter there and we'll see what Copilot, because this is only a demo now and I don't have real live documents to upload. So what type of leave are you looking for? Public holidays, your company observes, your annual leave and vacation, or both. So that's kind of the HR agent. I'll just see, can I actually add some files that we'll search HR HR. Okay, there we go. So we've got HR policies and procedures. Okay, so I'm just going to add them into it, because when I asked the question there, it didn't actually have anything here to question for it. So we'll just we'll ask the same questions again now when it's just finished. How many holidays do we get? And it should come back then. With a different answer, because we actually added some HR policies and procedures documents. So I'm just going to ask the same question, and it's processing it now. So it has some information now this time. So you can see it's asking us something different. So I'm just going to put in this one that it came back to us with. How many paid public holidays the company observes. Okay, I'll see that HR policy and procedure doesn't have those in it. Okay, so that's, just go back to the, we'll actually create the actual thing this time instead of deleting it. Okay, so it's swirling around there on the top. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to the library where I have all my agents, and we have our HR assistant here. Okay, so this is one I created before. Okay, so here's the prompt. What steps are involved in the onboarding process? So I already uploaded stuff to this, some documentation to show all the different steps. So it's coming back now with a lot of different information for us. Pre-onboarding the day before, you get an offer, a contract, complete the required forms, background checks. So that's all the kind of stuff that policy procedure. So day 2 or day 1, then welcome meeting with HR, overview company history. So yeah, all that kind of stuff. That's all good stuff you need for HR. In the first week, the training. So it's telling you all the good kind of stuff that you need to know when you join the company, and that's the HR agent. So I just want to show you something just before I finish up. All the agents there, sorry now. So as I was saying there earlier, you can get lots of third-party ones. You can see in there Canva, Monday, so even Jira, there's prompt coaches, lots of great stuff there. So and don't forget that website that I told you about, that adoption.microsoft. All the stuff about the agents is actually in there. So I think we're kind of coming up on the time. So I'm just going to leave it on that website, adoption.microsoft.com. Lots of stuff about agents inside there. There's you can watch different things. There's Copilot with OneDrive now, very good. You can explore all the agents, And these is the Microsoft Copilot Studio, Microsoft Foundry, lots of them there. So if you just click in here to this one, and that bring you then to the Microsoft Copilot Studio page where you can actually go down in here. Like, so if you are developer leadership, you can go into all these things. There's lots of stuff to download. It gives you PowerPoint presentations, just kind of giving you an overview of all the agents there as well. So that is adoption.microsoft.com. So I'm not sure if we have any questions from anybody coming in, or
So I see no questions at the moment, but I have prepared a question.
okay.
So we talk a lot about Copilot Studio at the M365 Con, and I have a question. What do you think? What skills do builders need most to succeed with Copilot Studio? So because we saw from Dion Taylor, how complex could it be to work on Copilot topics? And yeah, so if I see, yeah, for example, someone who is a typical Power Apps designer had a little problem to yeah, to get all these structures and the different systems and like MCP server and so on into an under one knowledge center and in this as a people. So what do you think this what need builders most?
Copilot Studio is just anybody can use it. Entry level, you go in there, get your free trial, play around with it. I don't have a developer's background myself, so it's no code. You don't need to know anything about code. You just go in there, you put in proper English, you tell it what it wants, and if you have files to upload, simple upload files, like even uploading from OneDrive, are simple out.
So, but where are the borders? So, is it to one part? So it's in the system, everything easy, or do you found borders where you say, okay, I don't think so. I can build a Copilot Studio bot with it, and I need, for example, Azure AI Foundry.
Like the studio kind of has everything, like it's built up already. The VMs are in the background. Whatever resources you pull in there, they'll spin up automatically, you know. Like you pick what package you want it to start. You get you know, do you want to use a free one if you're only just using those retrieval agents to scrape the internet for you? Or do you want something a bit more complex, like a HR agent, whereas you buy a package for £165 for a month and you get your Copilot Studio for $240 for the year? And so if you need more, then, you know, you go for a bigger package, you know what I mean? If you're really doing intense stuff on it, you know.
And I think, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
So, but I think it could be complex. So I saw here in the presentation today from Isabel and Joey, and where presented that he has Power Automate workflows behind the Copilot Studio bots. They have, for example, 2 data sources with SharePoint and Azure Blob Storage, and I think so. There's ever been an border, I think, where it's from the easy workflow where you get in 2 minutes, where you need to go more deeper insights or build up more deeper insights.
Yeah, I had a slide up there earlier where it kind of had the spectrum of agents. So I had the first one was the retrieval agent. That's the one you could scrape the internet with. The next one then was the task one, which I kind of just done the HR agent on it. And then the other one, the third one is the autonomous one, right? That's where those guys were using, they were using triggers to pull in stuff from like Power Automate and whatever. That's the part then that would get a bit more complex. Then if you're going to use autonomous agents, you need kind of a bit more knowledge on how to use it. Then
Oh, perfect. So I think it was an amazing last session. Hands-on topic. I love it, and I really like your presentation slides regarding to Wells Fargo. So I know that Daniel Christian works for Wells Fargo. So he should know this case because I think he works for 6 months for Wells Fargo, I think. It could be cool if you so for the show or for the Azure AI show, would it be the perfect guest to show it directly what they have done?
Yeah.
So if he could show this, I didn't know it.
Definitely, we would love him. Like when building the agents, I'd love to see the third part. Those autonomous agent part, where they're showing the triggers and the actions. You know what I mean? When you trigger something to say you want this, like it triggers an email, it could send something out to the tech department to onboard your new employees and stuff like that. Oh, definitely send me on his details, and I'd love to have him on the Azure and AI show to do some stuff with that.
Perfect. So for today, I want to thank you. I wish you a nice evening, I would say. I think we see us soon, and bye-bye.
Thank you very much for having me.
I thank you. Bye-bye.
The Microsoft ecosystem is evolving faster than ever. Copilot, Power Platform, security, modern work, Azure AI, new features every week, new opportunities every day. But learning is scattered. Events are expensive, limited, and difficult to access. That changes now. Welcome to M365 Con, the world's largest online Microsoft 365 convention. 2 powerful weeks, 1 week of workshops, 1 week of free global talks and keynotes. Build your own learning path with expert-led workshops. From Power Platform to security, from Copilot to Azure AI, you choose what matters to you. Then join over 60 free sessions with most valuable professionals, Microsoft trainers, architects, and innovators from around the world. Meet the community, explore the virtual expo, connect with experts, and be part of a global Microsoft experience. Accessible, global, interactive, and designed for every Microsoft 365 professional. M365 Con, your community, your learning path, your Microsoft 365 future.
Are you tired of missing out on the latest Microsoft innovations that could entirely revolutionize your business operations and workflow completely now and forever? Imagine having daily insights from industry experts at your fingertips every single day, receiving actionable advice that transforms your professional landscape significantly with each new revelation daily. Our M365.FM podcast brings you engaging, insightful conversations with dynamic leaders shaping the future through innovative technologies and groundbreaking ideas that transform industries. Stay ahead of the curve with expert analysis on the cutting-edge strategies you need to implement immediately, making informed decisions and driving innovation forward successfully, always. From IT pros to C-level executives, our podcast has got you covered with actionable advice daily. Tune in now to discover forward-thinking, revolutionary ideas that are transforming businesses like yours right now with innovative strategies and fresh perspectives. You get the exclusive inside scoop on Microsoft's latest technological developments and strategic moves, straight from the company's top experts and industry thought leaders daily. Our engaging discussions make complex tech topics simple, accessible, and highly actionable. You'll be the first to know about groundbreaking, game-changing technological advancements that significantly impact your role and transform your professional landscape completely every time. Each episode is packed with practical insights to boost your professional growth instantly. Don't just keep up. Stay ahead consistently with the knowledge and insights that set you apart creatively from the competition and others in your field, always effectively. Our M365.fm podcast is your essential key to unlocking the full potential of Microsoft's comprehensive suite of productivity tools and services effectively every day. Join a vibrant community of forward thinkers who are actively shaping the future of innovative tech and sustainable business models now and beyond regularly. You'll gain confidence in your decisions daily, backed by expert opinions and valuable insights, fostering personal growth and trust in your judgment naturally over time, with each careful consideration. Expect seamless integration of the latest tech trends into your workflow and overall business strategy, enhancing productivity and driving innovation through cutting-edge solutions and expert guidance daily. Every episode is a step towards becoming a more effective, informed, and confident leader in your chosen professional field by enhancing your skills and expertise gradually, over time naturally. Make the most of Microsoft's innovations today. Subscribe to M365.fm now and lead the way to a more productive future with innovative tools and collaborative solutions instantly. Listen now and transform your approach to tech and business with M365.fm. Your ultimate growth starts here today with expert insights and innovative solutions immediately.
Welcome to Power Bros Knowledge, where Power Platform meets pure innovation. Your business runs on chaos, approvals lost, data scattered, time wasted. We know that pain. Now imagine automating everything, faster, smarter, and built for impact. That's where Power Bros come in, architects of digital change. We don't talk trends, we build results. Our Knowledge Hub turns expertise into action, real tutorials, real automation, real impact. Whether it's Power Apps, Automate, Logic Apps, or Entra, we make it work together, smarter. Join the Power Bros movement, 30,000 professionals learning, building, and sharing every day. Ready to transform your workflows? Book us now, and let's build something legendary together.
Hello and a warm welcome to our last or closing session for today in the Entra and Azure stage. Today here with me is Kent Ware, the product manager of Logic App, with a topic building agentic business processes in Microsoft Foundry. Kent Ware, warm welcome to you again, I would say again. And
Yes,
yeah,
thank you.
the stage is yours.
All right. Well, thank you very much. All right, so let's get into it. As mentioned, yeah, building agentic business processes in Microsoft Foundry. So a little bit about myself. As mentioned, I am a PM on the Azure Logic Apps team, and I've spent most of my career working on integration and automation, having previously worked on the Microsoft Flow team, then also spending time in the Power Platform Customer Advisory team, working on RPA and Power Virtual Agents. I've got a YouTube channel, which I keep up to date. I actually just posted a video there today. And then also a blog that is new, but really focused on agents and agentic processing. So go ahead and check that out. Feel free to add me on LinkedIn as well. Happy to connect over there. So let's talk a little bit about an agenda. So we'll start with deterministic versus agentic workflows. And then we'll get into the new Foundry workflows offering, which was announced at Build or released at Build. Then we'll talk more about Microsoft Foundry integration with Logic Apps, and then we'll also finish off with the Logic Apps agentic business process use case, and then I'll leave you with some additional resources at the end. All right, so let's start with deterministic versus agentic processing. So, with folks that have like an automation background or an integration background, like this is going to feel quite familiar to you. Historically, when we've built these workflows, we've done so in a very deterministic manner. And we did that for good reasons. We had these rules, business rules that we needed to enforce, and we wanted those to go ahead and be predictable. Now, as part of that, we would establish these static paths. And these paths were there because we had to go down these specific routes within our workflow. And we wanted to make sure that that was done in a consistent manner. Now, things would always become a little bit challenging when we have an exception, right? So you might be able to do some level of compensation. You might do some level of retries, but I wouldn't say they're overly intelligent. It was usually a matter of like, log it somewhere, throw an error, and then let a human deal with it. And sometimes you had to go in and sort of fix a payload or sort of figure out why did it fail and spend a bunch of time doing that. Now, if we think about agentic, I really feel the opportunity here is to go after some of those use cases that historically were very difficult to go ahead and address. And so this is a situation where we can have more flexibility or adaptation inside of our solution because we have a large language model that is there to help us along our process, right? And especially when we start to think about how we can enrich those agentic processes with knowledge, those would be a lot of the historically, manual interventions or judgment calls that a human would make. We can now embed those inside of our solution and then provide that dynamic branching and having more adaptive solutions. The other thing that can also happen is when we think about exceptions, we can leverage AI to go help with that as well. So I've seen situations where, hey, sometimes you have a poorly formed message, it's missing a extra bracket or there's a comma missing in the case of CSV files. Well, there's things we can actually do with AI that actually helps like repair those particular instances. And we can go ahead in real time, go ahead and fix and avoid an exception and avoid disrupting a human from going after and fixing things. So I think the thing from my perspective is really that agentic extends and not replaces deterministic flows. And I think at least at this point in kind of the maturity curve, I think you do need this balance of like deterministic steps, but then also leveraging agentic steps to go after sort of new opportunities and actually be able to get extract more value from your solution itself. Now, just to take a couple practical use cases, we can think about employee onboarding, where historically HR would manually send documents, schedule training, and then answer repetitive questions. Now, if we introduce AI, we can summarize policies, suggest personalized training based upon someone's role, and agents can go ahead and handle new hire questions, FAQs, dynamically without disrupting people. And also you can have workflows that adapt by a person's role or region, and not necessarily everything do all that hard-coded, fixed, routing or flow control. Another example might be insurance claims, where adjusters manually review documents. They perform risk assessments that are quite timely, and they follow these static approval steps, oftentimes having to wait for someone to get to it in order to actually move forward in the process. Now, if we think about AI, we can introduce risk scoring. Agents can extract key insights from unstructured documents, something very difficult to do historically. And workflows can adapt to exceptions and fraud flags. And I'd also say that you can use knowledge in order to drive an approval process, meaning, hey, if it's within these sorts of thresholds, maybe it can be automatically approved, and only reach out to humans only to disrupt them, really, when it's absolutely necessary, but still conforming to guidelines inside of your organization. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Foundry workflows. So this is something that was new, as I mentioned, at Ignite. It was released in public preview. And if I think about some of the strengths of Foundry workflows, I would say that it really shines in the area of multi-agent orchestration. And so this allows you to go ahead and connect and unify your Foundry agents that have already been deployed. And what's nice about this is that you can see trace information across the solution. So you can go ahead and, as you kind of progress through this business process, see exactly where you are, see all of the inputs, all the outputs, things that we've seen in, say, run history. But we can see that across our agent landscape, which is quite nice. Now, when we talk about these particular agents, we can also connect to knowledge, and we can also connect to tools. And by default, the behavioral is conversational, but callable using a logic apps process as well. So we'll see that a little bit later when we talk about Foundry integration, how we can use logic app triggers to then go ahead and invoke Foundry agents as well. And we can kind of do that more from an event-driven basis instead of through a conversational experience. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just show a demo. And the background of the demo is really around, I want to be able to determine the optimal shipping route or plan based upon customer priority. So if I want to go ahead and send a friend a package and I need to get that package to them quickly, what would be the fastest path, the fastest option to go do that? And here we're going to have a workflow that orchestrates a series of 3 different agents and will come up with a recommendation on how we should go ahead and proceed. And so we can see in the workflow that we'll have, this, agentic step, and then we'll have a deterministic step where we're going to go ahead and check for shipping priority and do some conditional logic. And then we'll get back to some more agentic processing. Once again, sort of mixing both deterministic steps with agentic steps. So I'll go ahead. I'm just going to hit the play button and we'll watch this demo.
All right, so let's start in the context of a Foundry project where we can go ahead and see all of our workflows displayed, and then we can go ahead and simply create a workflow. And so there's some templates that exist. If you've got a sequential workflow, human in the loop, group chat, you can take advantage of those, or just go ahead and create blank. So I'll just create blank for simplicity here. Now, what is kind of interesting is that with these workflows, you can kind of choose your orientation. You can choose to go vertical, so top to bottom, or you can also choose to go horizontal, and it's really up to you. So that's kind of a cool feature. I think usually a lot of platforms force you down one particular path. Now here we go ahead and have a start. This is going to be a conversational experience, and we can go ahead and choose these different workflow actions that we can embed inside of our workflow. So we might start off by asking a question, right? So we can go ahead and ask a question, and then naturally be able to, extract a response and go ahead and save it. Now, I'm not going to go through all of the configuration here just because we'll see that in another example. But another action we can go ahead now and do is go ahead and invoke an agent. So we'll go ahead and select an agent that we want to go ahead and call. And then maybe based upon that agent, we want to be able to go ahead and provide some sort of condition. So here we could go ahead and do a condition. When it comes to conditions, and we'll see an example of this in sort of the next demo, we can go ahead and write our condition expression here. And so this is going to use Power Effects. If you're not familiar with Power Effects, it was, I don't know if it originated, but it definitely became popular as a result of the Power Platform. So if you're over in Copilot Studio or even Power Apps, you will see Power Effects, and it's a pretty popular expression / scripting language that you can go ahead and use. So that's available for us here. And then another sort of interesting feature I find is this it's almost like a go-to, right? Or it is a go-to, right? So we can go ahead and choose where we want to navigate to. So much like some of the earlier programming languages like BASIC, where you actually have a go-to statement, it's kind of like that, where we could say, go back to invoke an agent. So imagine a scenario where we start a conversation, we ask a question, we get a response, we then pass that response to an agent. The agent will return an output. That output will then go through a condition. Like maybe we weren't able to go ahead and satisfy the user's needs, right? So we could go back and start over again, and we could start back at the agent and sort of try again. Otherwise, maybe we go down a success path and we do something like we end the conversation itself, right? So that might be just a simple example from that perspective. So that's just some of the sort of easy building blocks of the workflow itself. We could see the YAML that represents our workflow, so behind the scenes. And then also there's some code here that would allow us to kind of get started with this. Obviously, I think there's some more work that needs to be done in order to get that working. So we're not going to save this. And what we will do is open up our existing solution. So here we've got a start example, right? We're just going to start our process. Then we're going to ask a question. So please provide your shipping details, origin, city, package weight, and whether or not this is urgent, right? So we need to go ahead and ask that question. Now, what we'll do is we'll respond back to the user's input, just saying, hey, thank you. We're going to now research some shipping options. Here, we'll go ahead and call our first agent. And like I said, kind of one of the strengths of these workflows is this orchestration of multi-agent use cases. And so here, we're going to just go ahead and click on Edit Agent in Playground. So this is just going to give you a view of the actual agent we're going to go ahead and call. So here we can see the system prompts, like you're a package delivery research specialist. When giving a shipping query, use web search to find current information about major carriers. Research timelines, service levels, special features. Present your findings as a structured list with the carrier name, service type, estimated delivery time, key features, etc. Right? So that's kind of what we're going to ask our agent to do. Now here, we're using grounding with Bing search. So this is cool. This is added as a tool where we can go ahead and add Bing search. So it's going to actually go out and call out to that search engine and actually leverage that for accessing real-time data. So that's pretty cool. That is something that is unique to Foundry, where they have that tool available built in to the platform itself. So let's flip back. And so what's going to happen now is we're going to get this response back from our agent. And we are going to save it, we're going to go ahead and have that response available to us downstream as well. Now, here, what we're going to do is we're going to check to see if the shipping details that the customer provided are urgent, right? So we're just doing some conditional logic here. And based upon the output, right, if that is true, we'll set a variable just saying express. Otherwise, we will set a variable that is economy. Now, this is data that will then pass to another shipping agent, and we'll actually go ahead and pass that in. So we can see the input message as being passed into this particular agent. Now, this is another agent that's just available. We can once again go ahead and check it in the playground. This is just a prompt agent, so nothing too crazy here, but it's just giving us some instructions on how to evaluate the shipping options, right? So if you're looking for express priority, then focus on delivery times, highlight same day options. If you're focused on economy, focus on cost effectiveness. So really just giving some guidance on how to make that decision and how to provide that recommendation, right? So that's going to do some analysis. Then we have one more, which is just, okay, what's the recommendation? And so we'll go ahead and once again, we can open this up and see once again a prompt agent, which is just going to provide once again some more recommendations. These would be some like non-functional requirements where it's like, hey, display it in this particular manner, and focus on cost range and use a range with like dollar signs, kind of like if you're on Yelp, stuff like that, and then provide next steps. So really just guiding our overall process. So pretty cool, but we've got multiple agents here. They don't have to be prompt agents. These could be other agents that are published, like hosted / Codeful agents as well. And you can kind of wire these all up inside of this experience. So pretty cool. Now we can go ahead and click on preview, and we will now go ahead and run this and be able to show the result to you. All right, so I'm going to include some information here. Maybe I'll just start off with hi, and then it should now ask me that question. And we can see this happening live, right? So we can see in real time exactly where we are in the process, which is nice, some nice touches there. And then here we need to provide that information about our package. So I want to send package from Seattle to Miami. It's 10 pounds in weight. And yes, this is of high urgency for me. So we want to find a faster path, maybe not the most economical path, but something that will allow me to get a quick delivery. So at this point, what's going on is we can see exactly where we are in the process. We've sent that message back, and now our research agent is actually executing. And so it's going to continue because we don't have any sort of additional questions that are being asked. So it's just going to navigate to the next set of statements. And we can see now we're on to the shipping analysis side of things. And then we're going to see a recommendation being outputted to us as well. So we'll just let this finish, and then we'll take a closer look at this preview panel. We'll be able to take a closer look. All right, so the agent has, or I guess the workflow is completed, calling all of those agents. And so let's go back and just take a closer look. So we had the delivery research agent, so this step right here, and we can see here's a summary for urgent shipping, options for a 10-pound package. And we can see FedEx, and this is live, right? So this is information where it went out and queried and searched these different websites, these different service providers for how they deal with these types of use cases around like priority overnight, what would be the estimated delivery time, what would be key features, etc. Right? So it's going to go through kind of the major offerings that exist today. And then we're going to go ahead and see the shipping analyzer, and it's going to give us some recommendations. So it's suggesting that UPS Express might be the best way because it's going to get us there the fastest. And if this is the most time critical, we also have an option, FedEx priority overnight. And this is going to give us some options as well. It's going to give some considerations like, hey, if you want to do this, you need to book, quickly in order to make this happen for yourself. And then we can see the final recommendation, right? So it is saying that we should consider going with FedEx priority overnight, and this would be the reasons why. And we can also have expectations, which is nice. Okay, so we need, we can expect it to be delivered by 10:30 to noon the next day. We will see that the cost is going to be high. It's going to be premium. So that's something that we should be aware of. And also tracking full door to door, right? So we should have good visibility over this. Then it's saying next steps, go ahead and book this through FedEx.com, pack securely, etc. Now, what could be interesting is we enhance this, right? Where maybe you have another agent itself that does the fulfillment. And you could connect MCP servers. We haven't really talked about that in this use case, but you could connect your MCP servers to that particular shipping agent and actually do this work for you. Now, there'd be some things we'd have to do, like have credentials to those services, maybe API keys, etc. But that is something that is quite reasonable to do, because with these other agents we showed, like this was an example of how we can add a tool for Bing. But we could also add other tools, right? We could go into that tool catalog and call other MCP servers, whether those are direct commercial entities like shipping providers, or if you've built something in Logic Apps with custom connectors. But that is a nice extensibility story. The other thing just worth calling out here is we do have versions, right? So this is kind of nice. As we go ahead and make iterations, we can roll back easily and see those versions. We can actually go ahead and publish as well. And we also have the ability to look at our traces. So if we wanted to see exactly what happened, this is kind of similar to like a run history. We can see exactly step by step, what was the interactions with the user, what were the interactions with the agents themselves, and how did the actual workflow behave? So we've got that full end-to-end traceability here as well. So this is something, it's still in preview, but you can go ahead and access it from the new Foundry portal. This was made available at Ignite, so go ahead and check that out.
All right, so that was Foundry
Right, so
and the new Foundry workflow service. Now let's talk about some other opportunities around integration with Foundry. And so this is kind of from a Logic App perspective, where Foundry is naturally a strategic AI platform for Microsoft and provides developers with a one-stop shop for building and managing agents. Now, if we think about how Logic Apps participates in the broader Foundry ecosystem, here are some of the ways where we have the ability to leverage Foundry project integration, which includes model usage. We've got the ability to go ahead and expose MCP tools through Logic App connectors that can be called from Foundry. We'll see a demo of that. We'll also see a demo of the Foundry Agent Service Connector, where we can take advantage of Logic App triggers and deterministic steps while still leaning on the Foundry Agent Service to provide that agentic capability. And then we also have the Foundry Control Plane, where when you're building these agentic processes in Logic Apps, they get registered and show up in the Foundry Control Plane so that you can include them as part of your holistic management of your agents in your ecosystem. We also do pipe in telemetry to the traces, much like you saw with the workflow example as well. So let's start with the Foundry Tools catalog. Now, agents aren't as useful without connectivity, and MCP servers become the best way to provide this connectivity to your different data sources. Now, Logic Apps has over 1,400 different Logic App connectors that can become a key connectivity enabler for your Foundry agents. And so I showed this in the earlier workshop last week, but the Foundry experience is similar to the one that you can also find in API Center. Now, it starts by browsing essentially a catalog, and this catalog is going to include Logic App related connectors, but also other tools that are provided in the Foundry platform. So some of these might be first-party Microsoft tools, some of them could be third-party. So there's a vast catalog of connectivity options that are available. Here, what I've done is I've searched for Salesforce, and I can see the Salesforce connector. And then from there, we go through a configuration experience where we can configure our MCP server to do more specific things that we're interested in, like create a contact or update an opportunity. So that's what we're going to see here in this next demo. And okay, maybe we won't see that in this demo. So that is something that is available, and I've got videos on my YouTube channel if you're looking for that. Also look for the recording of the workshop that I did as part of this conference. You'll find that information there too. Now, we also have the Foundry Agent Service Connector. This we do have a demo of, and this is where you could go ahead and still build your agent inside of Foundry. You could go ahead and do things like evaluations up there and guardrails, things of that nature. And maybe that's also a codeful agent. Maybe you've chosen to author your agent using code, and you just still want to be able to plug that in to a low-code workflow tool. And that's where Logic Apps will still orchestrate the broader business process for you, but you can still plug in to Foundry and take advantage of all the opportunities that Foundry provides you. Now, you can pass data in, you can receive a response, you can parse that response, and then you can execute subsequent deterministic steps. And you will also see the traces of that agent execution in the Foundry portal as well. So here's the use case, and you can kind of like envision a scenario where before agents, there was some manual processing, manual intervention involved. And so we could imagine a scenario, customer support scenario, where customer calls the service desk and says, hey, I've got a problem with this product. And then from there, you've got an agent, like a human agent, that's logging that call in a tool like ServiceNow. And maybe what happens is that call gets logged and a message is sent to Microsoft Team where there's a link to that specific incident, and then you've got a rep that's going to go ahead and triage it, do some manual work, and then ultimately send some feedback back to the workflow, which will then email the customer. So we can kind of take the mindset of, okay, what was the knowledge or information that customer support person used in order to determine the right outcome for this particular customer? They probably are trying to look for some compensation and that sort of thing. Now, if we take that same knowledge set and we actually make it available to an agent, we can actually come to the same conclusion based upon our standards that have been built for our company, and subsequently still go ahead and automate that process and send the email down to the customer itself. So that's going to be the basis of this demo, and we'll go ahead and take a look here.
All right, let's go take a look at our workflow here. So what's going to happen is we're going to get a request in, and this is something that ServiceNow would go ahead and push to us whenever there is that ticket created. Now what we want to go ahead and do is enrich our request payload by doing some lookups. So based upon the assignment group that's passed in, we'll go ahead and get details for that assignment group. And then what we'll also do is go ahead and get details for that particular customer based upon the caller ID. We'll then put together a composite message where we'll kind of combine the information from both of these calls that are relevant for our particular scenario. And then we'll start to interact with our agent. So we're going to start a conversation by calling an endpoint on our Foundry agent itself. We'll subsequently go ahead and then pass in the input to that particular version. We'll then get a response back. We'll just do some parsing, and then we'll go ahead and send out an email to the customer. Now, to help call this particular use case, I'm going to go ahead and just use a REST client inside of VS Code. So we'll go ahead and we'll kick this process off, and we should now see our agent, our workflow is running. So if we head back over to Logic Apps, we can see that we have a workflow that is in flight. We can go ahead and click into it, and we see that we've gotten the details from ServiceNow. We've called our agent, we've received a response back, and we've gone ahead and send out an email to our customer. Now, let's just take a quick look what that looks like. So in our email, we can see that we've emailed our customer and then offering them 20% off their next purchase and included a code for them to be able to go ahead and leverage. Now, let's head to Foundry and just see what this looks like over there. So here we're in Microsoft Foundry. We're in the context of a Foundry project, and we've got our agent here, our customer retention agent. Now, this is a Codeful agent on the back end. And in this case, what we're doing is we're calling this agent through the use of that connector. We also have support here for different versions. I was using version 4, so let's just go ahead and select that. And one question that gets asked is, okay, how do I know like what's going on in the agent when I call it? So I could see from Logic Apps, I've got rich run history, but what about on the Foundry side? And so if we click on traces, here we'll go ahead and see the conversation that just took place. And so we can then go ahead and click into it and see exactly what was passed into our particular agent and what was the response as well. So this is a demonstration of how Logic Apps can still orchestrate an agentic business process and take advantage of Foundry and its agent service to go ahead and provide that functionality.
All right, so that was a look at how we can sort of mix and match Logic Apps to do that orchestration piece, and then how we can go ahead and invoke that agent that is hosted inside of Foundry. Now, one more piece just around Foundry is just the notion of the Foundry control plane, right? So this is where you will get that visibility and governance around what is deployed inside your environment. And so this includes your Foundry agents, this includes SRE agents, this includes Copilot Studio agents, and also even third-party agents as well, where you can get that visibility from that perspective. And one thing just to kind of highlight here is that when we're creating these agentic business processes in Logic Apps, those will automatically show up here as well. And there's the ability then to provide oversight and governance. In this case, we could stop or start it. We could go ahead and click on view and source. That's a deep link to the actual Logic App itself. We can click into it and actually see the traces, much like we saw in the previous example as well. Now, one other sort of, I guess, use case here or thing to discuss is just like the role of like Logic Apps agentic business process as well. And this takes place or is accomplished through an agent experience where we can go ahead and define conversational or autonomous. We will go ahead and provide a connection to a Foundry model, or we can connect to a Foundry project. When we select a Foundry project, our traces will automatically show up there. We can go ahead and provide a prompt, and then we can go ahead and provide tools. Now, these tools could be things like your existing workflows, where you've got a set of deterministic steps, but you want to agentically call them. Those could also be connectors that can run underneath the context of the logged in user through what we call on behalf of. It could be custom code functions that you've basically embedded within your experience here, or it could also be an MCP server as well. So I wanted to show an example here of an agentic business process. And in this case, it's going to be autonomous. And what we want to do is a ServiceNow ticket review process. And so what will take place here is that we will actually, whenever a ticket is closed inside of ServiceNow, an event will be fired that will be accepted by a particular Logic App. Now, there's a few things that we want to take place. There's naturally a business process behind this in terms of what dictates what a closed ticket is. Like, does it have these types of fields? What are the expectations for those fields? And we're going to actually go ahead and do that through this particular tool that's going to get a document from SharePoint. We also need to get the ticket closer details, like who closed the ticket. At the end of the day, if there's an issue with their ticket, we need to send that to them. So we need to figure out who that is. So we're going to have a tool that will help us with that. And then there's going to be another tool that's just going to get us our ticket details. So when we get this event, it's more of like an ID is passed for the ticket. Then we're going to go and enrich that with additional details about the ticket. And then also getting another call, which is the work notes, just to get more information about how this ticket was closed itself. So we're going to go ahead and do that and then let the agent go ahead and orchestrate that process. So let's go ahead and just, so here's just an example of knowledge, right? So the example is, hey, I've got a Word document, identify my business process. I include what are my expectations. And in this case, like, here's a good example for business impact. We want to make sure that this is measurable, right? That there's material impact. And, this could be something that is represented in lost productivity, but measured in hours or days. Could also be a lower customer satisfaction score or lost revenue. So these are all things where it's highly measurable. And we're going to see this show up in the example where if we try to take a shortcut and are lazy, that this is going to get flagged and we will have an agent go ahead and address this. Now, this comes from a use case from a customer over in Europe. And, they were doing this manually. And what was interesting as I recreated this demo was that the AI was far more consistent than a human would be. And I would say it's probably more strict as well, which I think is a good thing if your aim is governance. Humans don't sort of have to rush through something because it's lunchtime or they've got another meeting or they want to leave for the day. This is something that an AI actually would probably do something more thorough than a human would. So let's go ahead and let's see this in action.
Okay, let's take a look at our workflow that is going to support our agentic business process. So it starts with an HTTP trigger, and we're just going to go ahead and pass in the body of that trigger over to our agent loop configuration here. Now, what we do have is headers that are coming in. And so here I'm going to go ahead and grab the ticket number coming from the header that was in ServiceNow. We're going to go ahead and create a connection to a GPT-5 model. And here is our process. Now, as I mentioned before, we've got that Word document that really drives a lot of our process. So this prompt is going to be quite light, but we're just going to provide the following instructions. You're an ITSM agent. Your job is to review closed tickets and enforce compliance. So step number 1, obtain the ticket rules. Step number 2, retrieve the ticket details. Get the details for the user who closed the ticket, because we need to email them in the event that they didn't complete it correctly. And then send a summary of the ticket review. And please ensure you use the ticket summary formatting guidance from our knowledge base. As you recall in that Word document, we had specific instructions there. So that's going to be our prompt. And then we've got our different tools, getting our business process. We're going to send an email with options. We're going to go ahead and get the ticket closer details. And then we'll use this in order to go email them with the information they need to provide. And then also we'll have the get ticket details. So here what we want to do is we want to get the incident itself based upon the ticket number. And then work notes is technically a separate table in ServiceNow. So we want to go ahead and get that information. Now, we are going to create a composite message where we basically take the outputs from both of these actions and send it back to the model, because otherwise we'd be sending excess payload to the agent and burning tokens unnecessarily. So let's go and see this run. So I'm in ServiceNow, and I'm going to go ahead and create a ticket and populate it with relevant information. Okay, so I populated the ticket and have some reasonable answers here, right? So we've got a caller, we've got a business impact. Now, this is where it's going to be a little bit questionable. Remember when we looked at our content, we talked about measurable impact here, and this is very subjective at this point. So this I would expect to flag on purpose. Now, we've got issue with laptop, we've got work notes. We get pretty specific here, like we perform some troubleshooting, we replace the old device with this particular ID, we replace it with a new device with the new ID, we went ahead and did an electrical infrastructure review, and we've done our work here. We've done our homework. We should be in good shape here. Now, the probable cause is that we feel like there isn't a power light on the Wi-Fi router. We may have a hardware router issue, and so we're going to go do some troubleshooting. So that's kind of our initial hypothesis. And then we've got a resolution notes of, hey, what did we do to go fix this? Once again, being very specific and also proactive as well. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and submit this. And now what will happen is that our workflow will kick off, and our agentic process will also kick off as part of that. So if we go ahead and click into our run history, we're going to go ahead and see this running in the various sort of iterations as it works through solving the problem. You can see here on the right-hand side in our agent log chat that, step by step, exactly what is happening behind the scenes here. And you can see we've got more information. We've got all of the ServiceNow details, and we've gone ahead and built out that composite message. We've now gotten the information about the person who closed the ticket and retrieved their user profile so that we can go ahead and send them an email. All right, now our email has been sent, so let's go ahead and check our inbox. So as expected, we've got a bit of an issue with our business impact. And AI has also provided recommendations, right? Some of them are optional, but here this is a hard one because it's non-compliant. And so, we really need to have something that is a little bit more measurable than just some people can't work as well. So that's great. Now, what we need to do, though, is run off the hook. We need to go fix this. So if we head back and our ticket ends in 259, we can come in here and be a little bit more specific. So we can say that there's 11 people that are working on the 11th floor. They've been without internet for 3 hours and resulting in 33 hours of lost productivity. So that is a little bit more measurable than what we saw before. So what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and we'll click update. And what we can do in the email, because we want to close down that instance, is we can go ahead and say, yes, I've gone ahead and fixed the ticket. Now, this will run again, and we should get an email here shortly that should go ahead and sort of confirm that the changes that have been made are compliant. And here, the original run has now been complete because we've gone ahead and acknowledged that we fixed the ticket. All right, so here we've just, the process is kicked off again, and we can see that everything is now compliant, and we were able to go ahead and address all of that without manually checking tickets while enforcing our business process.
All right, so hopefully you enjoyed those demos.
Okay, let's take a
and just sort of a few other capabilities to leave you with. So from a Logic Apps perspective, we also support like a Python code interpreter so that you can actually go ahead and describe, almost like provide a prompt of what you want to be achieved, provide some input sample data, and then actually have it dynamically generate Python code for you that will then execute and return your result, which is pretty cool. We do support RAG ingestion and retrieval, right? The ability to ingest documents at scale into Azure AI Search, and then building up an index of that, and then being able to go ahead and search and retrieve over top of that, which is quite useful when we think about corporate knowledge. We also have AI operations just to help with some of these, like certainly parsing when we want to say extract that Word document and just basically take the pure text and not worry about any sort of markup or additional junk. We just want to focus on that so that we're saving tokens. Chunking, that really helps on that ingestion side of things so that you can go ahead and break down larger data sets. Document intelligence is a connector that's available in our platform, and we can go ahead and scrape PDFs in order to extract key business data and then go ahead and populate downstream systems through our connectors. We showed you the Microsoft Foundry integrations. We talked a little bit about MCP servers, and like I said, look for additional content on that because it is available. So that wraps things up for me. If you want to check out additional content, do feel free to check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/KentWeir. And then also I've got a personal blog called The Agent Frontier, and go ahead and check that out as well.
Amazing session, Kent. One last question for me. So what are the upcoming features regarding to this topic? Could you tell us something about this?
Yeah, so there's let's see here. What can I say? So I guess one thing that I could talk about that's more immediate is because I know it should be out just in a couple of weeks, so it's pretty safe to talk about it. Is so we've talked about a little about MCP servers, like more so in that prior event, and we talked about how you can go ahead and use these experiences from the Foundry tool catalog, but also from API Center. And under the hood, we're kind of rewiring a Logic app to support these configurations, right? What's being released shortly is that inside of the Logic app standard instance and user interface itself, you're going to see an MCP server menu on the left-hand side. From within that menu, you'll be able to better manage your authentication settings, right? You'll be able to see your API keys and I guess we already do a lot of the OAuth stuff for you, but like that'll be visible. And then what you're also going to see is a series of different groups, like because you can reuse a Logic app and have multiple MCP servers, we call them groups. And you can see all of those and which are the workflows that belong to each of those groups. That will also allow you to take existing work. So you might have an existing Logic app that is being used, and you want to turn that into a MCP server without having to go through wizards and regenerate things. So it really is just going to be a series of a few knobs to turn it on, enable it, and then create a group which will have a unique URL. And then you'll be able to select, I want to include this workflow, I want to include that workflow, and that will then become an MCP server, and you can grab that URL and share it with whoever your agent surface, and then be able to easily consume that. So that's something that we're actively working on. That should be something right around the corner, and there's probably a bunch of other stuff that I can't talk about, so I'll save myself from getting in trouble. But that's something that do look for in the near future.
So yeah, thanks for the insights, and thank you again to be here for the third time. So this was the last day and the last session of our 10 days of the M365 Con with 7 workshops, 2 for me. So thank you for that again. And 61 expert sessions in 5 days. So the first day was the had 13 sessions. Yeah, this was a little bit special with 2 keynotes on this day. Yeah, so I want to thank you all speakers, all workshop heads and leaders. Amazing that this was possible. I think only one was missing. All others was still there at time. Amazing. So I can only say thank you. Have a nice day. Have a nice evening for the people in Europe. Yeah, and I hope we see you soon in the M365 show and next year again in the M365 Con in the next January, and in September for the German-speaking people of Austria and Switzerland and Germany, the German M365 Con. So I want to thank you all. See you. Have a nice day. See you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kent.
The Microsoft ecosystem is evolving faster than ever. Copilot, Power Platform, security, modern work, Azure AI, new features every week, new opportunities every day. But learning is scattered. Events are expensive, limited, and difficult to access. That changes now. Welcome to M365 Con, the world's largest online Microsoft 365 convention. 2 powerful weeks, 1 week of workshops, 1 week of free global talks and keynotes. Build your own learning path with expert-led workshops. From Power Platform to security, from Copilot to Azure AI, you choose what matters to you. Then join over 60 free sessions with most valuable professionals, Microsoft trainers, architects, and innovators from around the world. Meet the community, explore the virtual expo, connect with experts, and be part of a global Microsoft experience. Accessible, global, interactive, and designed for every Microsoft 365 professional. M365 Con, your community, your learning path, your Microsoft 365 future.